Boys is getting quiet. Go on and get crunk. Head back to Longview, Kelly popping trunk. I ain't even tripping. Riding and I'm sipping. Let me come through 4-4, steady tipping. On that new lap. Watch the trunk crack. Let me sit sideways, CB running back. Maybe AP, maybe AD. I ain't even tripping cause we some athletes. Messing with Smitty in the summertime. He get pissed if we don't make our time. But we gon' get it, cause we gotta finish. Nebraska horn hustlers, man, we diminished. Put them boys little, paint like a skittle. I ain't even tripping, I ain't never double dribble. Cause I'm a player from the Himalaya. Let me sit sideways, man. Maybe back door, maybe fall off. Sipping codeine cause I gotta kill a cough. Let me sit sideways in the big Benz. Oh, you boys, they my brothers, they my friends.
All right. Welcome to Fullback U. Man, we're gonna start this up, and as we were starting this pod up, we're gonna talk about the Super Bowl, but unfortunately, and let me go ahead and I got some vodka right here, and I'm gonna bring another beer out, Rufus. So, unfortunately, man, we got news that Kobe Bryant passed away. I want to introduce my man PJ Mills. PJ, I know he's your favorite player.
Yep. In any sport. Ever.
How are you?
Shocked. I'm driving over, and you hit me with it. That's what you kind of heard. And my man said Jones. A couple people people back home in VA was hitting me up. Everybody, who really know me know that's my favorite player, and not just in basketball. He's my favorite player in any sport. From a sports perspective, I thought Magic was the worst that I was gonna feel. The HIV virus and the fact that he might die. But this is the worst. That's the worst. My favorite player ever in any sport.
Rufus Alexander, how you feeling, sir?
Yeah, man. In the beginning, it was one of those players that I didn't like because I was a huge Shaquille O'Neal fan, and after Shaquille O'Neal left and watched what Kobe did, I just grew to love him. Just his attack and the way his drive for the game and to be great and stuff, man. And he reminded me so much of Michael Jordan, who is my favorite player of all time. And for him, he was the second coming to me whenever I watched him play. I remember watching him play in OKC whenever he came and beat OKC. And, I was dang near courtside watching Kobe play, and it was an unbelievable feeling to watch him take over a game, watch him shoot the ball, watch him do all the great things you see a phenomenal athlete do. But after he just started doing things that was bigger than basketball away from the game, with his daughters and stuff, and watch how his approach as a man, and he's somebody that's been through trials and tribulations in his life, and just, was just a good person whenever you look at him, from afar. But to hear the news of his life ending so early, the way he talked to younger players that's in the league now, this isn't gonna sting for a while. It's gonna hurt for a while. It's gonna affect a lot of people, emotionally, but it's just gonna affect the lives that he's probably could change throughout his life. It probably stops, because of he's not there in the present. There'll be a foundation and all that stuff for him, but him in the flesh would change lives so much differently than it would be with a foundation or anything like that. It's just, man, it's just gonna hurt so bad because of who and what he stood for. And man, you cannot put into words, because like I said, I was a huge fan in the back end of his career whenever Shaq left a few years after that, and just the way he approached everything, man, it just hurts so bad, because I grew up with Kobe Bryant just being so great, and being and then watching him be a loving dad, and some of your last images you see is of him and his young daughter talking basketball on the sideline, him at her games, coaching her in games. Those are things that I aspire to do with my daughter, as she gets older.
Yep.
And be there and coach her through things in life. And he was doing that on camera, Surreal.
A few things that you mentioned. His last tweet was to LeBron, second coming of Jordan. I don't think we realized just what a legend. What, for us as kids, Ruth, well, you were around we were the same age. We didn't realize there was just no drop off from that Bulls dynasty to right with Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah.
We just didn't realize it just because of how great they were. That was just the expectation. You mentioned his legacy, man. I met a girl through some teachers and stuff who, long story short, the AAU basketball team. Everybody wants to play Kobe's daughter's team or Kobe's team and blah 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 blah. You knew him by one name. He was the guy who set the tone of going from high school to pro. PJ, I hate to ask you to do this, but if you can, just favorite memories. I know you know every game like it was everything. Where were you when he threw the oop to Shaq? Just let me know.
Yes, every era has their guy. I know that Kareem and Michael 1 and 2 in my personal opinion, but my favorite was Bean, and I just thought he was the most skilled player I ever saw. Footwork, fundamentals, mid-range, post up. He's the most skilled basketball player I ever saw. Kareem and Mike were the top two. I personally have, Kobe 3. He's my favorite player. He was relentless, defiant, completely focused on the game of basketball, brought championships, and we all have favorites. You know what I mean? And, the thing about it is, all I ask in any sports conversation is just give the player.
It's gonna change now, PJ.
A lot of it's gonna be fake though.
That's real.
It's a lot of fake love coming. It's a lot of. I'm gonna keep it a buck today. So a lot of fake love gonna be coming.
That's real. Everybody.
I'm not talking about for the players.
No, right.
I'm talking about a lot of media members. Nick Wright, who was gonna pounce on the fact that LeBron passed him, is now gonna give some fake love.
Rufus, just talk about some of your favorite memories. I'm sure, like you said, the championships growing up, the dunk contest. Let me know.
I mean, coming down towards the end of his career, man, with the 60, 70 points he put up on Toronto. I forgot how many points he put up on Toronto. 81 on Toronto. Was one of my favorite memories. But when he coming down to the end of his career, he was still, you just see the focus and the drive in that guy. He didn't have all of it to play, but you saw him still with young guys talking to him and try to give him the game, give him wisdom, and I still say some of my favorite memories are him being done now, because you lose sight of who an athlete is as a person because everybody sees him on TV and you love what he does as an athlete, but what that man did after he was done playing football to change his focus and shift his focus totally on his family and his daughter. I mean, you have your focus on your family and stuff, but then you have basketball, so it just kind of, it goes, you kind of halfway in both of them. When you're playing a season, your times with your kids is kind of limited, and what you can do with them is a little bit limited. But man, the way he just put all his effort and energy into coaching his kid, bringing her to places, bringing her to practices, AAU games, all that stuff, he was there and present as a man. You love that. And then the non-hate at the end of it. He came back and said LeBron James is moving the game forward. He talked to the young guys. He gave praising comments about the young players coming up now, and how he talks about it's a different game and whenever he played, and how the young kids that are coming up now, or he just mentioned some of the great ones that are there. You just kind of love his overall uplifting message to the players that's still there in the NBA. You love that about it, because you barely hear any negative things, even though his relationship with Shaq kind of butted heads in the end, and then they came back and they've been able to make amends. And he said he was stubborn at times. It was his fault on some of the things and all that stuff. He was a man in that aspect of he wasn't afraid to say when he was wrong. And he came back and said, the thing with Shaq was, me being stubborn and bullheaded, but also, he just loved the game so much he felt like, Shaq wasn't in shape to play, and he wanted him to have that same desire to be in shape and to dominate. and his approach and his thinking of the game was so different from everybody else, and he tried to have that same drive and focus, and he took that and put it towards his life with his family and stuff. And he made mistakes as a man in his family, but he also stayed there and corrected those things and stayed focused and true to his family as well.
Shit, man. Looking back,
there's so many.
Can't even focus on that. I'm with you.
There's so many different eras of Kobe. You got the Afro Kobe, saying he's taking his talents to the NBA. Out of Philadelphia. First guard to ever come out of high school. Obviously, Moses Malone and Spencer Haywood and KG. They did it, but this is the first guard that did it, which was a little bit harder in a more physical league in the 90s. So you had that part, him partnering up with Shaq. They're going to always be synonymous with each other, positive and negative. And then when Shaq left, the lean years, learning, he was a great basketball player, but he had to learn how to be a great leader to someone else. And he went through that journey, transition from I'm going to be a great player on offense and defense. I'm going to close a lot of the games. And that was my responsibility. And every now and then I'm going to step in and jump on somebody or say something and let's get it going. But then he had to take much of the full load on the second half of his career. He didn't have Shaq. But he, eventually got Powell and Lamar and they ran off 3 finals in a row and won 2 of them. It was just, if you watch his career, it's an interesting journey. And at the beginning, I came across it to some as a cocky kid coming out of high school, seen as selfish by some. But in the end, he was just somebody that wanted to win and was very focused on daily tasks to get yourself in a position to be better at whatever you're doing. So there's a lot of things about Kobe Bryant that you can apply to your life, which is focus, choose your path, and do the best you can to try to do whatever it is that puts you in the most conducive place to achieve your goals. And if you don't achieve your goals, in the end, you're going to be a little upset, but you'll feel much better because you gave it your all. And nobody can say that he cheated against you.
That's real.
Nobody can say cheated.
I think we all three can say that. And, it's funny, and I shouldn't even say it's funny, but we all probably didn't play the last game of our careers the way we wanted to.
Definitely.
We didn't go out the way we wanted to. Kobe Bryant did.
It was
that last game.
Yeah, the game. He wanted to be in the playoffs. But
Talk about that last game.
The last game was, it's the most tired I ever saw him. He played a lot of minutes. He got to 60 points. Obviously, he took a lot of shot attempts, but he got to 60 points. And it's hard to get 60 at any age. And he got 60 in his 20th year. And it was magical. For me, that's the last.
I've never seen it.
It was magical.
I've never seen that crazy. People still use Snoop Dogg as the gift. Yeah, the whole fucking crowd going crazy.
81 points, but I don't think that his career has been valued the way it should.
We don't have basketball fundamentalists here.
But you love his. One thing is just with his name, you could just say, man, it's growth. Just his whole entire career was growth and maturity. And you saw it just go through stages. You had just everything that happened. The Shaq thing, and then you had the whole thing is on me type thing to come to the realization, well, I need other people to be there so I can lean on that it's stars. Yeah. But you had all your points where, all right, I have my guy. We're winning championships. Well, I can do this whole thing by myself if he don't want to be ready. You know what I'm saying? And he had this whole thing by himself, didn't realize, man, I need other guys. I can lead them and show as long as they can be all-stars with me, I know I can dominate the game enough myself. Realizing that part of it and then coming to the realization, well, hey, my career is at an end, man. I ain't got this. And you saw it throughout that season how tired he was his last game, and then he knew, just like, hey, you walk off, hey, I know. Yeah. And came back and walked back and said, I can do this. He said, man, it's it for me. I'm done.
And that journey was interesting coming in, wanting to match what Jordan did as far as championships. Obviously, he's one short. The skill set is similar. Like I said, I think he's the most skilled, though I think Kareem and Mike were the 2 better players. But then because he and Shaq, L.A. was so hot around that time period. and LA they're used to kings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in comedy it was Richard. Well, then it was. It always seems like in LA it's got to be that one person.
Yeah.
In whatever genre that they're in. Denzel was the guy for so many years, and that's maybe Idris or whoever else. It's like somebody gets picked as the guy, and then that's kind of what the narrative is for a few years, and that kind of became what it was for him.
Yeah.
The stress of that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of stress in that.
Because I want you to follow this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So people around here, and when I said we don't have basketball fun, when I grew up on the NBA, I grew up a traditionalist. This is how things go. Blah 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 blah. But see, I don't think people understood. The narrative around here, PJ, was that Kobe's a ball hog and blah, 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 blah. He wouldn't pass the ball and this whole deal. But here's my thing. Before we even get to that.
Because they didn't like him.
People
do the like factor with him.
That's fine.
They don't do what he actually accomplished and did. They do the like factor. Do I like you? Do I not like you?
Let's seriously think about what that criticism meant. What does it say about a motherfucker if he knows, everybody knows, okay, if he's trying to get 30 and y'all can't stop him. What's it say? He's in the NBA, Rufus. Yeah. Well, that's like the NFL. Hey, he scores 4 touchdowns a game. You gonna stop him? If he's getting the ball, hey, I'm getting the ball. I'm not gonna throw the ball. Cam Newton says that. If you don't stop him, what happens? I mean, is that his fault?
Right.
I mean, and then again, I'm not saying that that's how I felt about Kobe at all, because that's not how I felt. But right. I feel that, because again, this is a shooting guard in basketball. This is what they do. They shoot. I don't care how many times they shoot. Shit. When it's the last shot, they want the ball. When it's the first shot, they want the ball. When it's every shot in between, they want the ball. You want the ball to come back to you? Don't fucking pass it to him. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. But and I say those things, but Kobe was a great and complete basketball player. People don't realize the skill set that he had. When he backed people down to the basket, that was what their offense was. When he's making his moves and doing the fadeaway and pump fake and going to the line, those are strategic basketball plays that add up to your best defender being fouled out, to you having to put a secondary defender on him and bringing somebody over. I mean, these are basketball things, PJ, that a lot of people don't think of.
Right. And when we're talking about him or any other player, when they do this hierarchy of ranking, it's opinion, but in a lot of cases it's like factor. So when I say like factor, I know you're good, but I don't like you. So I like him, so I'm gonna just say this. That's like the Bleacher Report top 10. They had Steph Curry at 10, had Kobe at 14. You don't know basketball if you think Steph Curry is a better basketball player than Kobe Bryant.
All right.
I'll tell them to their face.
That's real.
That's facts. Right?
He's my favorite player.
Yeah.
And I won't say he's number one because Kareem and Mike are 1 or 2, in my opinion. So I like him. But I'm going to give what I think the truth. There's nobody that can sit across from me and tell me that Steph Curry is a better basketball player than Kobe Bryant. They said he's better than Akeem Olajuwon, Kevin Durant.
Who?
Bleacher Report, when they did the top 10 players of all time.
They said Curry better than Kevin Durant?
They had Curry at 10.
Wow.
Kobe, Dream, Kevin Durant, all of them were after that. Oscar Robertson, all of them was after him. And this isn't negative on Steph Curry. I don't have a problem with Steph Curry. But when we judge players, let's judge players. Consistent. So where's Curry's defense? It's not there.
It's not there.
Clay or Draymond has to go out. And this isn't attacking Steph. Steph is the best shooter I've ever seen, especially off the bounce. He's amazing, Hall of Famer. He's put in work in this league. I'm just saying there are a lot of people that have agendas. And who tells the story sometimes dictates history.
Yeah.
Who tells the story?
What you think, Ruf?
There's no way, like you said, the top 10 of that stuff, you don't put Kobe Bryant up in the top 5. I mean, he's for me, he's 3.
I've heard you say second best shooting guard of all time. Second best shooting guard of all time.
Yeah, because Mike is the best.
That's what I feel too. So,
but for me, he's the 3rd best player.
I've heard you say that.
Because Kareem is number, and Kareem is criminally underrated.
Yeah.
Criminally underrated.
Yeah.
Everybody knows I love Kobe, but if we take a second, if we're talking basketball, how's Kareem not number 1?
Great question.
He was a 3-time champ in college, 3-time player of the year in college.
Yeah.
He was a 3-time champ, a 4-time champ in high school. He goes to the NBA and wins 6 championships. He was the best player on every level he ever played in. When they say LeBron is now 3, respect to LeBron. Kobe's passing doesn't change. Respect to LeBron on that. He worked his off. But with LeBron being number 3 in scoring, and I think somewhere top 10 in assists, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. But if you tell me those numbers make LeBron number 1, then you got to explain, well, how is Kareem number 1 in scoring, number 3 in rebounds, number 3 in blocks, and been to 10 finals and won 6? A lot of people play the like factor game. Yeah. And I don't have a problem with you liking somebody. Just be able to support it with something.
Yeah. Well, you bring up something that's a great point. I want to get your thoughts out on Ruth, but the like factor really gets exposed with that because LeBron's a different type of player than he is. And then again, Kareem's a different type of player than he is. Right. So to me, it goes to the people like the shooting guards, people like the people that score, but then they also like who's likable outside off the court type deal. Which again, I loved Kobe off the court. That was my thing is like when I got to, Rufus, please comment on this. When you got to the NFL, the best players there, the veteran guys, were a lot like Kobe?
Yeah. I mean, they all were a lot like Kobe. They all wanted. I mean, the quarterback wanted the ball in his hand if he's an all-star guy. The top receiver, Randy Moss, wanted the ball in his hand all the time if he was there.
Mentality-wise, wasting your time at the facility. Did that happen with those guys?
No, it didn't. They don't waste their time ever.
Peyton Manning, you were with him.
Yeah, I mean, Peyton Manning ran the offense. He ran the offense at practice. The coach was just there a lot of times. I mean, the guy would mess up and he would take him out and he would put another guy in. And he said, no, I don't like the way that look is on the field. And he would change the look of how it is on the field. Hey, take that play out, put this play in. I like the way it looked like this. I mean, so, there's guys that are in control of everything and they're not brash in the way they're in control of everything. I mean, I think Kobe in the beginning was brash in the way he was in control of everything. After he come to learn and understand himself, that man was in control of everything, but he was in a respectful way to his coaches and all that stuff. And they said, well, this guy's a genius when it comes to basketball. Mm-hmm. Saying he was a musical genius when it came to basketball. Same thing with a LeBron James. His earlier career, he kind of had his bug, but he had a brilliant mind and understand defenses where everybody's supposed to be. And you can let a guy like that lead your team, and it looks like your job is effortless. As a coach, you have Kobe Bryant. Kobe is that guy, man. Yeah. And that's what he was to basketball when he played for L.A. He came to learn to be that guy. Peyton Manning came to learn to be that guy. Brett Favre, you can go down the line. Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, they had that mentality of, I understand what a cornerback is doing. Deion Sanders had that same ability to line up against a man and say, well, he has his foot this way, so I'm going to do this. He has his hands this way, so I'm going to do this. Knowing when to rush you, jam you. But he understood. Those type of guys understand ball in different dimensions. Yep. We thinking that 2 dimensions, they're like 4 or 5 dimensions away from us and understand everything that comes into it, what you're doing before you do it. It's just such a terrible loss because those are things that he was passing along to his kid, and he also passed along to other players if they asked him for his help. He helped so many players. They would go meet him and work out with Kobe Bryant.
Gianna Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. I mean, was the old boy in Boston? Was it Tatum?
Yeah, Tatum.
Jason Tatum goes down and work with Kobe, and his game gets better.
Right.
So that man knows what he's talking about, and guys go and seek his knowledge because of who and how he worked. It's amazing. Some guys like a Michael Jordan. I love Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan wasn't a great teacher of the game because he couldn't teach it the way he played it. But Kobe Bryant can work with a guy and you can see his game get better because of how he taught the game and how he brought this relayed the message of how he played. I'm not trying to change your game into this, but with the abilities that you have, this is how you get great at doing different things and being better as a player.
And I want to put he only played for one team.
Yeah. The thing I think that he had a lot of strikes against him. One, he was cocky, right? But most athletes
MJ was cocky.
Right? They accepted it from Michael.
Yeah.
They didn't accept it from him. And one thing I always found interesting is if Mike is the best in a lot of people's minds, I got him 2, but I can see if somebody says 1, he's epic. I don't understand how if you're 1 or 2 and the closest thing to you, I think most people would agree, skill set wise, footwork, fundamentals, post up, 1 dribble pull up, 2 dribble pull up, mid post, shoot a 3, on occasions not as much. Phenomenal on ball defense, off ball defense. They're the closest to each other.
Yeah.
So how is Mike is 1 or 2, but Kobe's 10 or not? You know what I mean? It's the like factor, because Shaq was loved, so nobody held him accountable that he didn't do as much as he should have. This is not a shot at Shaq, but if you ask Shaq right now, he knows there's no reason him and Tim Duncan should be in the same conversation. Mm-hmm. But Tim Duncan got as much out of his ability as I think he could have. As great as Diesel was, and this is not a shot, this is actually trying to prop him up. As good as that cat was, there was more that could have been, like, if he would have been in shape. And I think this is where the Kobe Shaq thing goes apart. One, in LA, there has to be a king.
Yeah.
Remember when it was in the 80s, it was Magic's team.
Right.
Even though Kareem was the better player the first few years. But they dubbed Magic as the man. He had the smile, he had the personality, he was the leader of the group and running the fast break. So people kind of slid Kareem to the side. In LA, in a lot of places, there has to be one. Well, when Kobe gets there with Shaq, Shaq was the better player when they first got together. Everybody knows that. But Shaq knew how good he was, so he knew, man, if I turn this up to 7, I'm going to get my numbers and we'll win. Kobe always wanted to be 10. So that maniacal drive to be the greatest ever, because he knew he had to get a lot done to get up there with Mike and get up there with Kareem and guys of that ilk. I'm focused on the long game as soon as I get here. So the same person that missed those shots had hard enough to take it because I feel like I can make it. Now, he had to work on his game and work on a couple of things, obviously. But I think the approach was different. I think the end goal for both of them was to dominate. I think outside pressure, because they had different camps. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Kobe had a much smaller group of people he was around. He's more of a homebody. Obviously, he was born in Philly. He went to, I think, Italy in like 7 or 8, when he was 7 or 8, and came back to Philly when he was like 14 because he spent his high school years there. So, I mean, he's obviously he's a Philly kid, but he has some European basketball ideas about moving the ball and those type of things. And then when the media pits you against each other, I do it. Just did it. I got Kareem one. I just did it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that that's something to be negative. It's a fun thing. But when you allow it to permeate within the locker room, whose team is it? Who gets credit for the championships? Oh, the first 3 are Shaq's. Well, Shaq didn't win a championship before Kobe got there. Oh, well, the last 3 are Kobe's. Well, Kobe needed help too with Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom, just like LeBron needed help. Everybody needs help.
Right.
So we can always play the who's the better game, and that's opinion. All I ask is just be authentic in what a player actually did.
Rufus, what you think?
You know, and the thing about it is, you know, egos get in check, right? Yeah. So Shaq checked his ego when he got to Miami. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, he subjugated his game.
Yeah, he subjugated his game. His ego got in check because Dwayne Wade was the better player. He was the guy. Even though Shaq was still giving you those minutes, where
he was still great in Miami,
getting your times and whatever, but he also deferred.
But you know what else it was?
To Dwayne Wade.
He wanted to win.
He wanted to win.
Okay, we did 3 together.
Right.
I want to get more than you.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that pushed Diesel. When he left L.A. and went to Miami, he looked like Orlando, Shaq.
Yeah, he was dominant too.
He was like
in shape,
leaned up. He was focused, you know, and I think that he knows he could have got more out of his career. He knows he shouldn't be compared to Tim Duncan. He needs to be Kareem, Wilt, Dream, and Shaq. But I think some people put Duncan on the big man ahead of him
as well with the Shaq leaving stuff too. I think it checked Kobe's ego also. I think after a few years after, it checked his as well, in saying,
yeah,
I know I am this person, but I can also be with this ego. I can also be a mentor and also lean on other people. I mean, it checked both their egos to make them better players towards the back end of their careers. I mean, Shaq, you know, just kind of the injuries kind of started plaguing him, and Kobe towards the back end, his injuries started plaguing him. But I mean, it's older body. It happened. Father Times catches up with everybody. But I think after the departure, I think both their egos took that shot, and they both became better men and players after that too. Also,
when Kobe played with Dwight, I think that's when he appreciated Shaq the most.
yeah,
And I think when Shaq career was ending,
he appreciated.
I think he appreciated Kobe more because he knows that if they could have worked it out,
That would have been the duo.
Yeah, because Shaq don't ever
That
talk
would've been
about
good.
Shaq don't talk about him and he don't talk about him and Dwayne Wade versus other people.
He likes. I mean, early on when he was with Wade, he used to prop Wade up, obviously try to make Kobe piss him off. But and Wade's a bad boy. Don't get me wrong.
he's a bad dude.
He had 3 or 4 top shooting guard of all time. Wade gets busy, but
when it came down to it,
when it came down to it,
and they was discussing him this LeBron James team's versus, but he's always going to put him and Kobe Bryant together.
Yeah,
He's not going to put him and Dwayne Wade. Not a shot at Dwayne Wade because he
They
knows
won.
what how Kobe Bryant get down and what type of player he is and what he was as a player, and that says a lot to their relationship and stuff because it's just the mythical battles.
And I'm glad they got cool again.
Yeah, that's what
I'm glad they got cool again. And so, you know, I can go on and on about this cat. You know, he's my favorite player for so many different reasons. It's a shame that so-called basketball fans didn't appreciate him as much as they should have. And some of these rankings, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But you can't convince me he's 14.
What's he going to elevate to? He going to elevate now to what?
Oh, you're gonna get a lot of fake love.
4 or 5.
He gonna be
4 or 5.
You can get a lot of fake love. But more. That's okay. That's a little bit of me with some of the fake love because Jordan punched Steve Kerr in the face in practice, and that was seen as he's focused on winning.
Right.
Kobe come to practice.
People excuse who they like.
Yeah, and Kobe Bryant come to practice and said, "Throw the ball, man. Y'all ain't ready to work.
Y'all ain't working.
Y'all ain't working."
I'm not painting him as a perfect player. I'm not painting him as a perfect leader. I'm not painting him as a perfect person. I'm just saying, keep the same energy.
Yeah.
If you allow Mike to hit Steve Kerr, then him and Shaq, where there's a 7-year difference, fighting for supremacy in a land of stars, winning championships, and the public is going to dictate who we give credit to. Listen, if Robert Horry doesn't catch the ball off the backboard and hit the jump shot, maybe they don't get to the final. Right. There are guys that may not be household names or legends are going to be on any Hall of Fame or even All-Star team that made a couple of plays. Much Parker.
Real.
Stole the ball, kicked it over to me, hit it, and they won the game against Phoenix. Team is a very important concept to really believe in team sports.
No doubt.
Usain Bolt doesn't really need a team, even though I know he ran 4x4.
Tiger Woods don't need
4x1.
That's real, yeah.
But when you're in a team game, y'all have to find a way to come together when it's time.
Right.
I judge great players, especially basketball players, off a few things, and y'all can laugh about it if you want. If I know you by one name, your ass is real. If I steal some of your signature mannerisms, if you spin the ball and on your free throw and then knock it down, I'm gonna steal it from you. Did you steal any of Kobe's moves, Pete? Oh, I would steal the pump fake fadeaway. So the fade pump that way, bring it back. He bring it back that way. Man. What moves did you steal from Kobe? I know you tried to hit a few fadeaways saying his name, that whole deal. Let me know.
The turnaround fadeaway. I mean, obviously he bought it from Mike, but the footwork. The two things that I think are underrated about him is his footwork and his defense. Because how I judge players is, I think, pretty simple. Skill set. What are you capable of? Resume. What did you actually accomplish? Longevity. How long did you do it? And lastly, did you see it? Because we know Wilt is a bad boy. I didn't see it. So that's why I put
never saw it.
Did you see it on the end?
Yeah.
Skill set, what are you capable of? What couldn't he do on a basketball field?
Will there be another Kobe? My man Brad Reed came with a fire question. Who's the next Kobe? Do you see a comparison?
No, I don't see another Kobe because I think the game has changed a little bit from the dominant one. Mike was the dominant one. You know what I'm saying? Kobe was the outward
And
alpha.
their mindset now is, I'm gonna get with this other dominant person, let them carry at this moment in time.
Yeah,
That's why I brought him playing one team.
Yeah,
That's why I brought him playing one
going
team.
somewhere else and joining. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But I'm gonna stay here. Even though, and people will bring up he didn't go to Chicago.
Right.
He thought about it. He didn't go to Chicago. Mike thought about going to New York. He didn't go. LeBron, Steph, KD, it's their era right now. You know what I'm saying? It's their era.
And this
right
thing
now.
about the players that's now, you look at LeBron, you saw with Kobe, he took something from Jordan.
Yep.
You saw with Kobe taking something from Jordan, but Kobe also had his style of play.
Yeah.
There's nothing that, like the players that's there now, I think they don't have when Kobe gets it in the post, he's going to his fadeaway, they can't stop it. Or LeBron James, what does LeBron James do right now that's his signature move or what he's going to do? It's not really nothing
Post
that
you up and just debo you.
He don't post as much as he does.
No, you're right, he doesn't. But I'm just saying, he's just going to bully.
Yeah,
you
is this a regular?
It's a bully ball.
But it's a regular
bully
move.
ball.
Allen Iverson, he gonna cross you over. He gonna get to the goal. You don't see guys now having their signature thing that they do. You just don't see it. They
I don't see
develop
guys
something
having
that's
a complete
unstoppable.
game.
Yeah,
Right.
Like Tim Duncan. He was going to the fadeaway backboard off the jump shot off the backboard, or whenever he gets at this point in time right here in the league, he's gonna go off the backboard. Boom, it's going in. They call him Mr. Fundamental. Hakeem Olajuwon, the Hakeem Shake, the Dream Shake, right?
Oh,
Bro, you had all those things, and it's just like you could talk about a guy in certain eras. You had the sky hook as well from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and stuff. So you kind of go down to the Showtime Magic, no look pass, Michael Jordan switching hands, fade. All this stuff. You just don't see a lot of signature things now.
Yeah, you remember people by
You
those.
see guys now, all they do is run off of picks, shoot the three, come down, fast break 3-point shot. The 3-point shot doesn't change a lot of the game, and how they approach the game doesn't change the game a whole lot. You can name some of the big time players, and you can almost picture a move that they would do. You can name Dr. J, and you would know the come around the basket.
You know why that is though?
Why is
You're
that?
making very good points. You know why that is though? It's because now sports is the highlight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So Mike had great footwork. He would post up, mid-post, free throw. He could do it all, just like Bryant can. Just like LeBron has now become, because LeBron didn't post up in it, but now he's a complete player. But that one move is something that you'll be remembered for. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scored 38,000 points. When people think about it, just think about goggles and a sky hook. He made 15 All-NBA teams, 11 All-Defensive teams. Yep. He was more than, but it's the highlight now. It's not necessarily their overall game.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what something is missing when you say, because I hear a lot of people say Mike is the best, and I can accept that, even though I think Kareem did more, but I can accept that. But my theory is, if you really think Mike is the best, then why don't you play defense like Mike did? If that's your man, why don't you defend like that?
And LeBron DL too. I love LeBron. LeBron is such a
his defense. His defense does this.
Yeah.
Right.
The first years he didn't defend
He didn't defend at all.
When he got to Miami, he played great defense. To me, that's the best version of Miami. The best version of LeBron was in Miami because when he got humbled, he worked on his mid-range game. He posted up. To me, that's the best version of LeBron. I just want to say that if you really respect a player like Mike or Kobe like that, then why don't you defend? As great as Russ was, as athletic and competitive as he was, you supposed to be turning out the lights on somebody.
I want to get your thoughts on that because he used to compliment Russ, saying he had the Mamba mentality and all that. But I got to let you guys know, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news on this, but apparently Kobe's oldest daughter was on the helicopter with him, Gianna.
Gianna.
So
The basketball.
I believe so. 13-year-old.
GG. Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That makes it worse.
That makes it even far worse. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Just an awful situation.
This is
just an awful situation.
Sad day, bro.
It is.
Man, it's even getting worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
She 13.
Yeah.
13.
I mean, falling in love with basketball. That's got him back out to going to games because she wanted to see. She loved Trae Young.
Yeah.
Want to go see Trae play. Or go see this guy play. Go see this guy play.
Shout out to Rayford Young, man. What an amazing deal, man. He loves us, by the way.
Great
he
fan.
loves
Great
you.
great
He
for you.
loves
Come
you.
on, I know Ray for long. I know Ray for a long time, brother.
Yeah.
I know
Ray for good
good
people.
people.
I hope you don't mind. I sold your name on the podcast to try to get him over. I said, hey, me and PJ want to do a podcast.
Ray for my man.
Just say
Ray
me.
for my,
I said,
hey,
okay.
let me tell you this. His son's a beast, but the dad was tough too.
Really?
Dad could play.
Yeah.
Like I said, I seen Trae
Dad
Young.
could play.
I seen Trae Young play when he was little, like whenever he was little, and watch his dad make him put in work, and he would go to the gym and he would put in work. I mean, his dad was always on the road with him at all-star game, at showcases and all that stuff. I mean, he invested in his son, and that's I think the same thing that Kobe was doing with his daughter. I mean, he was investing that time. She was gonna change. I think she's going to change women's basketball the way she was approaching the game also. And then she was, Kobe Bryant's daughter.
Yeah.
Man, it's just.
That's tough.
Damn.
Let me
so
ask you this, PJ. Because we won't get off topic, but celebrity deaths. You mentioned Magic.
Well, he didn't die.
Yeah,
I'm saying that was the worst thing.
But I'm just saying, you mentioned the Magic instance. But is there any celebrity? I'm sure you like Prince. I'd imagine my sister was a huge Prince fan.
I was huge myself.
Yeah. Was you really?
Yeah,
I was in Minnesota too.
Yeah, I was a big Prince.
Prince to me is the most gifted artist and the dopest musician ever. I think he's the greatest overall artist ever.
Better than Michael Jackson to me.
He's because he writes and arranges. So
writes, plays all the instruments, all that stuff.
27
Everything.
instruments. I seen him in concert twice. He played he's the most complete artist I've ever seen. So Prince would be one. Earth, Wind and Fire is my favorite group of all time. If I had to be somewhere and only listen to something's music, it's gonna be Earth, Wind and Fire because they speak to love, spirituality, uplifting, inner peace. Just be ever wonderful. That's the way of the world. Keep your head to the sky. Devotion. So when Maurice White, the leader of Earth, Wind and Fire, died. Maurice White died in February of 2016, and Prince died in April of 2016. So that was a huge whammy from a musical standpoint for me because I love music even more than sports. So when Maurice White died off Earth, Wind and Fire, my favorite group, and then Prince, the most gifted artist, died a couple of months apart. I remember being, I think, like 10 years old, and we're driving in Virginia, and it comes over the news on the radio that Marvin Gaye died. My mom pulled off the road and got emotional. It was like, Marvin Gaye. You ever have a favorite, but you know somebody's better? Marvin was my favorite, but I knew Prince was better. That's why I call Prince the greatest, but Marvin was my favorite. So Marvin passing was extremely, extremely sad from a music perspective. Kobe passing for me is in there.
My dad uses Marvin Gaye as a excuse to let me know not to try him anymore. He uses his.
Whoa!
I love my dad to death. We're doing a podcast.
Yeah, he kept it all the way 100 right there.
Have you heard that quote? I brought you into this world.
Yeah. I never had it said to me though,
Yeah, he told me, son, you better research Marvin Gaye. I said, okay.
Leave your pops alone, Playboy.
Yeah, I will. Don't worry.
Don't trust pops.
Roof. We lost. I was gonna say Book. We lost a teammate in Book. That one crushed me. But also, I want to hear your celebrities too.
Stuart Scott was one.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I would get on TV, just love hearing his voice a little more. I've never watched ESPN the same. I never watched ESPN the same. I just never watched it the same. He was just
so original.
Mookie.
Yeah, and guys could never get to that level again. Right now, I think you look at ESPN struggle now because of it, because dude, he was just different. You got on ESPN and you heard him talking. He just livened up the room and what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched ESPN the same since then. I don't watch it consistently anymore like I used to. Yeah, after he passed, I really haven't.
I'm glad you brought him up because I met him once.
Yeah,
I think I may have told you this before. I met him once at Mickey Mantle's during the Thunder's heyday. Mm-hmm. He was like 13 or something like that. It was, back when Mickey Mantle's was just everybody went. It was just crazy.
Yep.
And it was so packed. Wherever you ended up being at a certain point, that's kind of where you were going to be for most of the night because it was just so packed in there. Well, I ended up being like, if anybody know Mickey Mantle's downtown, you come in to the right, that's kind of where we were for the rest of the night. And I got a chance to talk to Bun B. He was really cool.
Oh, cool dude. Don't
really
be cool. I met him.
Because him and Kendrick Perkins are really close. He was there when Perk was still there.
Perk.
So got to talk to Bun B. Very, very smart brother. Really cool too. Shout out to UGK. But then Stuart Scott was there, and I don't really like going up to like stars like that because I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But the reason I did was because my dad died, a few weeks before I graduated from high school from cancer. I knew he had cancer. So we was just close, maybe like here to there. I went and got a drink, and I said, excuse me. I said, I'm not trying to bother you. I said, I just want to, let you know I'm praying for you, what you got going on. I said, my father died from cancer, and I'm praying for you, rooting for you, man. I just wanted to let you know, you obviously do a great job on TV, but I'm praying for the person, not the personality. He said, I appreciate that. He said, always remember this. And I remember this, and I use this a lot of times. He says, he told me, every breath you take is part of your father's legacy.
Real. That's real.
That's real.
So that's the little moment, that's the little nugget I got from Stuart. So I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah, and the one person that died where I cried, and I was young, was whenever Tupac got shot.
Yeah.
Oh, that was rough. The Tupac Big thing, we're not too long from each other. Yeah, that was rough.
And that was, Louisiana, I've never seen a school where everybody, pretty much, most people at the school missed school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
rough. We all didn't go to school. My cousin didn't go to school. Just so many people that I knew that didn't even know Tupac cried their eyes out, bro.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a block or a corner that you turned that you didn't hear a Tupac song being blasted.
Almost deaf.
Everywhere you went. And those, I wasn't a huge, big fan or anything like that. They had their beefs and I already had picked my side or whatever. But to me, Tupac was one of those ones, was the last, as a kid, showed a lot of emotion for someone that I really, I didn't really just know and didn't meet or anything like that. But man, it just impacted communities and people and all that stuff. And people just cried all over the place when those people passed away.
That's real.
And when Tupac passing away, bro, I've never sat in a room and cried and just jammed my picture me rolling. I was just every song just bam, All Eyes on Me CD, just throw it in, throw the next one in. It's CDs back then, and then Machiavelli came out around that same time. You couldn't hear Hail Mary enough to kind of, and then the songs that he made, Dear Mama and all that stuff. And I think, it passed. But for him, it just, year after year, like another CD would come out, so you didn't want to believe he was dead. He was like, dang, this dude is talking about stuff.
In Jamaica.
Yeah, so, that was a...
they got them all these places.
Those two right now were my toughest because Stuart Scott was somebody I woke up and listened to all the time. You get on ESPN just to listen to what he had to say. Booyah, all that stuff he would say was something that was really dope to me, and I would love to listen to him talk and listen to sportscasting because of Stuart Scott. And then Tupac was the reason why I kind of fell in love with hip-hop and rap and all that stuff because of just what he kind of embodied and things that he said in his music. He had something where it was hard and gritty, but then he also spoke about something of the subconscious that would hit you. Brenda Have a Baby and Dear Mama and the different thing. There's so many different songs that were impacting black society. And people that were putting guns and all that stuff, man. It was just all this stuff that was happening. Even though he was gritty, he also had that side to him that was so endearing to women and would also talk to men, downgrading women also. Even though he had, like I said, he had his music, but he also had a positive side to him and a positive thought process that he would go through as well. So those are my two.
California knows how to party. Changed the game. That whole video, him and Dre, just unbelievable.
They use the EPMD sample.
Oh my God, that changed the game. You mentioned to finish up with Kobe. Gosh,
it's worse hearing his daughter was there.
Yeah,
like I said, yeah. I just he's my favorite player in any sport. He overtook Magic. I love Doc, Dion, LT. Just he's my favorite player in any sport. And It's a shame that he wasn't appreciated as much as a basketball player while he was here by some because they did the like factor deal. But the real shame is that his wife, his parents, his friends, his other children don't get to see their father again.
Yeah.
And don't get to see a daughter, sister, niece, whatever, what have you, because I think he has a sister. So that's the sad part. Yes, we lost a great basketball player, but we got to always remember that there are people that love the man, not just the talent.
Yep.
And now he got to, when you retire, and he had a lot of money. The only reason I bring it up is because he had time to really have time with his family. And I think that, when he retired at 16, and this obviously turned into 2020, I think that they did so much together that they can now have that legacy of not just going to watch him play basketball and having him come home. You had him all the time. Yeah. And he was, sending Gigi to different games and that type of stuff. So it's just, my sadness for him is really low compared to the people that loved him, depended on him, needed him. But he was just dope, man. Number 4 scorer in NBA history. 11-time first team All NBA, that's second most. 9-time first team All Defense, that's tied for most. Nobody's ever had 11.
He's gonna skyrocket in everybody's rankings, PJ. Let's just go. Let's be real. He's gonna move in everybody's top 3.
He should have been. He should have been up there anyway. He should have been up there anyway. But beside the player, a human
did so much.
Lost his life with his oldest baby, and the family is now shattered.
Yeah.
So my little sadness of my favorite player, that pales in comparison to the people that loved him, knew him, parents that gave birth to him, wife that they went through their ups and downs. They find a way to get it together because it's through
great
better
point.
or worse.
Great point.
And his children don't have a father anymore. Missing a sister. We miss a basketball player and a celebrity. They miss somebody that's there every day, and they depend on and they truly love. So my little sadness is a little selfish. The real sadness is the people that knew him best, were related to him, and the people that was in his household. So I say to them, may God rest his soul. May being rest in paradise. And for the family, don't look around, look up. Every breath you take is part of his legacy.
Our sadness and our tears are just a drop in the ocean. It's sadness and tears that's around there.
Nothing compared to what those that truly know him and love him.
Yeah, you mentioned Stuart Scott, Roof. I'll lead it into. We can get on some football before you guys leave. But
we got it.
My rookie year, I'm gonna have to find my buddy Jason McKee. He just got a high school job up in Illinois. He gave me this. Here, rookie, take this camera on his media day. So he made me just take his camera and video everything as much as I could. Well, I'm gonna have to get the interview from him, but I interviewed Stuart Scott and just told him, hey man, I'm doing this for. Yeah, I'll take a minute for you. I said, hey man, welcome to Super Bowl 2006. Blah 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 blah. Like to introduce my man Stuart Scott. How you doing today? I'm doing good. Stuart, I'm doing pretty good. I'm working on my vocabulary. I actually thought of a new word you may not have heard of. He's like, what's that word? Booyah. So gets a little joke out of that. So pretty funny there. But speaking of Super Bowl, what's your thoughts, PJ? Early, who you got? What? Tell me about it.
It's gonna be very interesting because good on good, however people used to say it, the best version of San Francisco is going to play the best version of Kansas City, in my opinion. Yeah. Kansas City's offense is
legit,
tremendous,
tremendous, so explosive.
But that defense with San Francisco,
that's crazy.
That front, if they can get home and put some pressure on them, it's going to be interesting. I think depending on health across the board, I would say Kansas City, I think they win because if you tell me turnovers changes everything. But if you tell me Mahomes and Jimmy G, if Mahomes puts up the points near where you think they can, what you think, 30-40?
30-40.
30-40. So they can put 30-40 up. That means Jimmy G got to do something because they do the quick hitting scoring. San Francisco, so far, was methodical.
Yeah.
And that methodical approach is good if you're up. But if you're behind, it's not as good. And then we'll see what Jimmy G is like under pressure.
Real.
Yeah.
You know what? Listen, everybody got a plan until you get here. Ain't what Tyson says?
Right.
Pressure is a situation where it says, are you ready for the moment? Can you handle the pressure? And I think Kansas City will win.
What you think, Rue?
I'm thinking I'm going with Kansas City as well. I think they will not be able to hide Richard Sherman as much as they've had with that cover 3.
That's real.
I love.
Everybody hate on Sherman.
No, I know. I love.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Reeves.
Yeah, but I love.
Silly.
Yeah, I like Richard Sherman's game. I don't like that he lied about Bake, but I mean, I think I like his game, I like his mental approach to the game as well. But you get him in a foot race, you can probably win. And they got some speed out there. I mean, they got like legit dudes. And I don't think you're gonna be able to play that cover 3 against Mahomes because he's tall. He'll sit in the pocket. He'll take the hit.
He can move.
And he'll move.
Yeah,
He'll adjust and move. They ain't gonna be able to fly up the field like they were doing, against other teams, against the teams that they played against. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult for those guys to do what they've been doing because one, he'll get the ball out fast sometimes when he have to, and then if he has to hit a long strike, he's so accurate on the deep ball. It's just like, well, and they just stress you out in so many different ways.
Right.
I mean, Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy calling the plays and stuff and doing those things. I mean,
Bieniemy was with you in Minnesota.
Can he get a job?
No.
Can he get a job?
Next question.
Yeah,
Are we?
Yeah, I'm saying next question.
Yeah.
That'll be our next question.
So I think Kansas City wins, like for a lot of the reasons that PJ said. I mean, if Kansas City starts quick and get up, that run game of running it down the field and doing all that stuff, and they stop you a few times in that run game, and that offense is getting hot, that defense will be back on the field. And once you start hanging your tongue out there playing defense against Mahomes, hey, bro, it's gonna be a long day because that defense got to stay fresh to be able to continue to bring pressure on Mahomes. And if they get a consistent scoring thing going and they stop San Francisco 2 or 3 times, watch out. It could be this game get blown out.
In fairness to San Francisco, I still think Kansas City's going to win. But if Mahomes try to get a little too cute,
they got some Hawks out there now.
they got some guys that'll hawk that ball.
Well, and I'm
And
sure
if he get a couple of turnovers short field, put some pressure on them, you know what I'm saying, to come from, now obviously we've seen them come from behind, but this isn't Tennessee.
They didn't play
San
well
Francisco.
against Tennessee. They didn't start off well against Tennessee. They didn't start off well. What's the first game they started off with? 21-24?
Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings. They didn't start off well. And, dude, I tell you what, those guys stayed the course. Pat Mahomes said, down 21. Man, don't worry about it. Nothing.
51 on it.
Shoot, 51.
San Francisco a little different, though.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be as easy.
Vikings have a salty defense, though.
They do.
Vikings can play, though.
Yeah,
They got a defense.
They do. But the Vikings, I didn't think that the Vikings had any way to control the game. Like, again, Kansas City I think is going to win. But if San Francisco can get a few turnovers and get up, that run game can make a team that's used to explosive plays a little more anxious and try to take
more shots.
More shots. That's what I'm saying. So I think that if they can kind of slow it down some, get a turnover or two, and not necessarily if Kansas City is behind, Kansas City is not gonna panic.
Yeah.
But sometimes he tries to make oh Lord, did you see that throw?
Yeah.
And that crew can make him pay.
And I think you watch San Francisco. I think San Francisco does some of the most beautiful work
Run game.
with a fullback.
Let's go.
They
Fullback
get
U, baby.
William Florida's proud somewhere.
Let's go.
Hey, I'm telling
Bar
you,
none. Bar none.
Florida State.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
watched some of the fullback blocking and stuff. As a linebacker watching the game, I'm like, damn, I don't know how I would play that one.
That's
I
tough.
mean, a few of the bend back draws,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be easy to play. You kind of stay even foot with the guy. But when the fullback goes one way, spins around, come backs and get a guy, that's some really cool, unique ways they start using the fullback and how that fullback kind of feint blocks and then goes to the next guy. That makes you think about you about to be blocked because he knows the speed of his running back. Once I make that guy pause his feet, I'm going to the next guy. Don't even touch. When I watched him play last week, I watched the fullback fake block somebody, did not even touch him, went to the next level, blocked the next guy down the field, boom, breaks a big long
Was
run.
that the one we did this?
He did that and went up.
Yeah.
And I mean, the guy went to hit him, and he just said, "Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next guy."
He almost like he ran a route.
Yeah, like you ran. It was unreal. This really cool with some of the way they using the fullback in the game where they said the fullback was almost obsolete. They ran a fullback pretty much, 60-70% of the game last week.
No, you like that.
I love it.
Dude, but like I even I think I tweeted you and said,
did.
man, this is some beautiful work the way San Francisco is using this fullback. Some of the things they did, you just don't think you can do in the game.
I'm going to elaborate for you, and then I'll get you into it on your next question. So what you were talking about, one, they put us in like this little wing, and he was talking about when we go backside cutoff, a lot of times we're backside DN, but they'd send him backside to about the center, and then he'd turn back around, and he'd come outside. The other one that you're talking about, they keep him incorporated in the passing game as well, because I believe their first playoff game, that fake block that you did, he ran a vertical, caught one outside on him. It may have been one of the last regular season plays of the game. And this is going to get to your question, but if you were preparing for the Super Bowl, what's a few things that you would see, what's a few things run game you would try to stop?
If I'm trying to stop the run game?
Either one, because Rashawn Mostert is fast as hell.
Yeah, you gotta focus on him. To me, I think they're a running team.
Yeah.
I think they're a running team, so you have to have the line of scrimmage to me always dictates so much. If they can win a good amount of battles on that O-line, I think that can put some pressure on San Francisco. And I don't know how that coach is going to respond in this moment because he hasn't been here as a head coach. But if they can kind of stymie the running game a little bit, I think that will make him have to go to Jimmy G earlier than he wants to. Hey, I could be completely wrong. He may jump out there and Jimmy G go for a bomb first, let everybody know, back up. We ain't just going to, kind of soft pedal this thing. We coming at you. We believe in Jimmy G. So, it can go different than what I'm saying, but your O-line and your D-line always gives you your versatility. And I think if they can get off and can control the line of scrimmage and get them off the field on third down early, I think it may put some pressure on them psychologically because Kansas City, I think, is going to score.
You're DC. Tell me what you do.
Before you get that, I mean, I think it benefits Kansas City because they played Tennessee the week before.
Yeah.
Right? Tennessee was pretty much a downhill run team, and they coming at you, run the ball. They big boy coming at you. So you kind of conditioned to playing big boy football. San Francisco hadn't seen anything that matches Kansas City and going to give them that look that they need. For me, it's all where the fullback's at. Follow the fullback, he leads you to the play. And that's really how it's been. And everybody else plays their rules off of when the fullback goes away, you come straight to the running back and stuff. So for me as a defensive coordinator preparing a linebacker, I would say, hey, look, follow the fullback. Don't take your eye off of him because he can come back and go the opposite way. So that means you have to rock back and add the other way. As a linebacker, sometimes you get too aggressive and you see him going left. I'm going to get to that spot right now before he gets there. And he gets by the center, like J.D. said, that man spins around, comes back the other way. You're a man short on the other side when that running back bends back. I mean, you're legit almost a man or two short. So he's going to get some big yards. That's what sucks. And the other one, you got to get Samuel. You have to know where Samuel's at. Because
Debo.
Yeah, because, I mean, Debo, he bring it. He's coming out. He blocks well on the edge. He'll get it
off to him.
Yeah, they hand it off to him. They do so many really good things with him where all that window dressing in the back end, you're gonna have a session of where you have nothing but motion. I'm doing a BV type of defensive preparation in. We're gonna take, instead of how we do run game stuff or fits and stuff, we doing just motion. They pick up, add this way, and you're supposed to shift your defense over here, move your defense over there, and go in different places because San Francisco does a lot of window dressing to make you think, all right, well, they moving everybody over here. Oh, they gonna motion this guy back over here. All will do the same play.
And all you had to do was watch the fullback.
Watch the fullback
the
whole entire
bit and did that and blocked.
Yeah,
and
it's a great point.
But if you watch the motion,
I know you like that.
Yeah, you watch the motions and you shift. Like all you're doing is moving like one or two steps one way, one or two steps the other way. So get your mind conditioned to seeing all the movement and stuff, and still being able to focus on what the game plan is and who I have to focus on. Because if the fullback don't move, if the fullback moves, still take your eyes over there to him over here. And watch him. If he comes back, split zone. If he's in the backfield and he does the bend back draw, he's coming back on the bend back draw. If he's in that slot position where he comes in and spins back around, you still watch his head and watch him coming back so you can add back the other way. So those are the things I would do. I would do just a huge emphasis on motion on motion offense and how they move and readjust their front.
That's a great point.
Go ahead.
You know what's going to be really interesting? Because everything you said is on point. Same with you. we've talked about O-line, we've talked about the quarterbacks, we've talked about the defense. You know what may be a huge key?
Special teams.
Well, yeah. Tight end.
Oh, yeah, Kelsey.
They got maybe the two best tight ends.
Kelsey and Kittle.
Would you say they're the two best tight ends in the league?
Yeah.
Two best tight ends in the league. So if they're coming up so much to try to stop the run, they can run the routes. They can run routes. You know, they're fast enough. Their catch radius is amazing. They're the two best now that Gronk is gone. They're the two best tight ends.
I think Kittle's more complete because he blocks very well.
He blocks with bad intentions.
Yeah.
He don't block to get you open. He blocks to get you out the way.
To me, he's an asshole too when he blocks you because he's laughing and he's on. He's having
fun.
Yeah, he's having fun. So those guys like that have a little bit part crazy because they love doing the blocking side of it.
You're gonna call me crazy, aren't you, Ruth?
Yeah. Fullback. I mean, because you're man, all you're doing is, hey, I'm going to go and I know I'm going to hit this sucker. But
That's right.
For a guy like him, he loves to block. And you just see it whenever he's doing it and the guy gets a big run. He's super happy, though. He's cheesing and telling you that he blocked you. Especially if he blocks a big dude.
Yeah, he likes that.
He likes that.
But that cat on the other side, he got all kinds of confidence.
Oh, he can catch anything.
He got all. Listen, he was terrible at the beginning of the last game. Didn't mean a thing. It went in one end out the other. I'm gonna make the next plays, and he got it popping after that. Yeah. So they can start off kind of slow, but his confidence isn't gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
And with Kelsey, what makes him so hard, what makes Kansas City so hard, is they can bring Blake Bell and go with a heavier package, and it looks heavy, but Kelsey couldn't run down the field like a wide receiver. Yeah, and you take Blake Bell and you keep him in, he's an extension like a fullback. That's and he blocks really well, and he also goes out and runs really good pass routes. But he blocks really well, too, to help you out, kind of having that extended kind of fullback. Mm-hmm. He's not a fullback. He's on the line, but he's that guy that stays in as that extra protection guy if they need protection. And Blake Bell does a really good job. He found his niche in the league, and it's really cool to see.
Are we doing it now or later?
Oh, well, let me get this. Yeah, absolutely. Because that was great when we can wrap that up before we do the fan questions. But just wanted to give everybody a little breakdown on, I actually got a chance to go to the Super Bowl my rookie year with Chicago. So the first week of preparation, it was a lot. It was D Hess. When we mentioned special teams, Dave Tobe, the special teams coach for us in Chicago, is now at Kansas City. Okay. He had Devin Hester and Tyreek Hill. Not a bad job.
Maybe 2 of the 5 fastest players ever played in the game.
Not a bad job. He does amazing.
A different guy, man.
Does amazing, but just his artwork with how he draws things up and how he sees things. I told Don Franks, he used to still shot 2 different screens. One time he found out that the Jets, anytime they would fake punt, you know how it is, Roof, on the NFL rosters, 25 on offense, 25 on defense, 3 specialists. Well, those 3 specialists are real cool. So he found a damn still shot of a regular punt and a fake punt, and he put them up there by us. And he was like, do y'all notice anything different about these? One of them's a fake punt, one of them's not. How do you know? And we were like, fuck, we don't know. We're just watching. He's like, all right, there's something on the sidelines. Okay, it's something with the specialist. He's like, okay, it's a fake punt because the field goal kicker knows those guys, and he's over here watching. He's watching it. Yeah, he's watching the kick. So anytime that they got a guy up there watching the kick, it's fake punt.
Yeah, let me go check this out.
Right. Exactly. Just little shit.
It's the little things. It's the little things.
Be some BV thing. BV like, all right, when these, all right. These guys do this. Yeah. Okay, that guy's over here. Okay, now they're about to do this. Like, is this little things that crazy that coaches?
Was 1,000%.
Little things. That's why they be in that office till 10 o'clock at 11 o'clock at night sometimes.
I also mentioned he saved me on safety blitz, stealing slam dog signals from everybody else. He slam dogs. I'm like, what? Thank you.
You don't know how many times I done look back at that dude right before the play comes, and he's over there telling me what play's coming. Yeah, he had straight signals for everything.
His passion was crazy.
Dude, he would tell you over and under. Crazy. He would tell you 69 curls and straight. I mean, he had everything. Like, he would do these curls.
I'm happy for him.
I mean, he would do screen. I still remember a lot of the signals. Yeah. I mean, he would do screen. He would do draw. Dude,
he was working.
Everything, bro.
Yeah, he was working.
I mean, he would do the under-over. Dude, he would do slow go. I mean, he had everything. We played against Texas Tech, man. That man had every single time they lined up, he knew what play was coming. And I would look to the side, he would tell me what play was coming, we'd make the play. Every time. And it was like he was at, I mean, for somebody to know the plays coming at 90% when Leach was there, I mean, 90% of the time, he was dead on.
Well, that's the stuff we don't see because after practice is over, we're going to
do
what we want to do.
Yeah.
They're in there
Right.
Putting in a lot of work.
You mentioned coaching. You want to get to it?
Yeah,
You want me to bring it?
Wait, I did have are we going to get into the Kansas thing?
Kansas. Oh yeah, we can. Let's go Bieniemy first.
Okay, go ahead.
So I've been around Bieniemy. I visited Minnesota. So Rufus and I came in together, but he redshirted, and then I didn't. And then I took a visit to Minnesota, didn't get drafted there, and then he got drafted. You got drafted there, correct? So we missed each other by a year. I met with Eric Bieniemy. They ended up signing Tony Richardson to a big deal, so it ended up not happening. And then they, one of my homeboys was Fui, not Fui. What was the Samoan kid that they had up there from BYU? The fullback.
That's who you talking about.
We trained together.
Fue something. It's
Yeah,
Fue.
it was from. I'll think of it whenever. But anyway, we were good friends. I love Bieniemy. A lot of people don't know he has a special needs child. He's an amazing father. He's an amazing bright mind. He's an amazing organizer. He's an amazing everything. You mentioned the style BV had. I'll just get to it. Are black coaches getting the short end of the stick, BJ? Is Eric Bieniemy getting the short end of the stick? What needs to happen? Let me know.
Yes. That's easy. I mean, come on. Everybody sees it. They don't want to say it. Everybody sees it. It's ridiculous. And it's gone on too long. That rule where you got to interview somebody.
Rooney Rule.
The Rooney Rule.
Doesn't mean anything.
It's a formality. Thanks for coming. Free trip.
The theory of it is good. The implementation,
Not good.
not good.
I'll take it a step. I'll even take it a step further. You watch guys come off a Belichick tree, and everybody goes and get him. And how many of those Belichick guys failed or succeeded? I think one is one of the ones that really succeeded is Vrabel.
Yeah, Vrabel's
Here in
definitely
his latest coaching tree.
Yeah, Vrabel's definitely
McDaniels
the
had a job.
And Vrabel was an incredible two-way former player.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just one.
Two.
Two-way in the NFL.
Right. So you look at his situation, Andy Reid. I mean, how many people have to come off of history? Andy Reid's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And so guys need to come off of Andy Reid's coaching staff as well and be able to go and say, well, I'll vouch for this guy. I mean, they hired what they hire from New England? What, special teams guy? What was it? Mm-hmm. Somebody hired somebody off of.
It's who you know.
I forgot the guy's name. It wasn't Miami. I forgot who it was. But, black coaches that do get a job, they have the shortest leash.
Yes. Steve Wilkes. They hired, that was our DB coach in Chicago. He went out to Arizona. That's bullshit, man. 1 year.
Yeah.
They give you.
We know what it is.
We had Ron Rivera out there too. That was bullshit. I love Ron Rivera to death. I mean, it was based on Cam's performance, if you ask me.
Right, but
took him to a Super Bowl.
Somebody had put something on Twitter about the Gase guy, about Adam Gase, right? They said he told you that Tannehill wasn't no good and Kenyon Drake wasn't no good, and he's out and he's telling you now Le'Veon Bell is no good and he can't do nothing with that roster. But Gase was also came at the back end of Peyton Manning's career. But Peyton Manning, like I tell you, for a guy that you barely coaching Peyton Manning, there's barely many things you telling Peyton Manning that he hadn't seen or plays that he's saying he's going to call and implement. And Gase is not telling him, nah, we're not going to do that one. We're going to do it the way I want to do it.
No, shit. I heard Dominique Rhodes. I was teammates with him in the UFL. He told me Peyton Manning, which is like your receivers have to be so in sync. PJ, you're a receiver. They told me he used to flip the motherfucker. Like, most of the time, we would run check pass. And that was pretty normal for us. You say the code name, your safety's up, you throw it over him. Safety's back, you run it. Shit, they said he would have pass play and you would flip the route. Mm-hmm. So, you got post out over here, it turns to post out that way.
Yeah, you got to know it.
Know it.
They go through Marvin Harrison, and Reggie Wayne. Yeah. I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
True or false, did they only line up on one side? Did Marvin? Because Summerlin was it Marvin Harrison that only?
I thought he always lined up on the right. He always lined up on the right. Yeah,
that was something we noticed.
Yeah,
he only lines up all them damn yards, and he only lined up on the right.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, Peyton Manning had simple things, man, and you see things like that though. But you have these coaches that come in and they get behind these guys like Peyton Manning, and then Gase gets a job off of that, and it's not. I mean, just the short leash that guys get. And people say, well, they're getting chances or whatever. I mean, Caldwell. I mean, whenever he took the job at Detroit, he wasn't a bad coach.
Lovie Smith, who I was with in Chicago, finished 9-7.
He got to a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, went to a Super Bowl.
Fired him at 9-7.
and he gets fired. I mean, there's so many things. You know, I commend the Steelers because so many people call for Tomlin's head.
They stuck with him,
and they've stuck with Tomlin. Mm-hmm. And Tomlin's had some bad breaks. I mean, I think Big Ben is at the back end of his career, and they don't know how to let Big Ben go.
It's also the Rooney family, though. Rooney rule.
Yeah, and so you look at Big Ben over there in Pittsburgh. As long as he wants to stay there, he'll stay there, and so he's stuck with that guy. Mm-hmm. But his defense, I mean, they've been up and down, but they've also carried that team last year, and they've stuck with this guy, and he's always continued to work. But I don't think they give you a shot to say, oh, let's see what this guy can do, but they give you a short amount of time to fix all the mistakes that everybody else has had with this team, and say, well, we're not competing at this level or whatever. I mean, Shanahan he shut down his leg against the Patriots, still throwing the ball whenever they up by a lot instead of run the ball and kill the clock. The clock is your friend, and he's over there playing like against it.
Yep.
And he gets a job at San Francisco. Not to say nothing that's down on what he did, but I mean, that didn't show good coaching at that point in time, beating the team and being able to lose to that team.
Right. Not at all.
But other guys, they'll go ahead and they fault them. I think as a black coach, you get faulted for things that other coaches get a pass on. You get held over the fire more than another coach that would get a pass for a lot of things. And I mean, it's not fair, but it is what that's what it is. But I think a guy like Bieniemy needs to be a head coach somewhere. He is a great guy. He is awesome. I mean, the way he worked with AD, he didn't give just because AD was a first round draft pick. That man was hard on AD. I mean, as far as what he had to do, how he had to be prepared, his preparedness for a game and stuff, he still held AD feet to the fire the whole time he was in Minnesota.
Your ass is running outside, stay in the A gap. You trying to go too outside, quit, stay up and make him play on that safety. AD,
this is a Hall of Fame.
You move it,
And he used Chester Taylor as a guy to put him in his place.
Number 29.
He took Chester Taylor and put Chester Taylor, and you see how he's stuck in that hole?
Yep.
You have more ability than him, and that guy's able to do the small things, and kind of kept. I mean, it leveled AD out in the beginning, and AD became a better running back for that in Minnesota. But Eric Bieniemy was a big part of why he was able to adjust to the NFL game so good, because I watched Eric Bieniemy be hard on him in practice and teach him. And he wasn't the guy that came in and kissed AD's ass.
Nope.
Right.
He stood.
Coached him.
Yeah, he coached him. He coached him.
You
like
can coach
a man.
hard and love.
Yeah, he coached him like a grown man would coach another man. Hey, look, your ass ain't doing it. I'm gonna get another guy in there that can do it. Chester Taylor wouldn't get the yards. He wouldn't get the breakout 60, 70 yards. It ain't gonna be pretty, but he'll methodically get 6-7 yards down the field.
Yards per carry.
And he'll tell AD, I need you to make this a 80-yard gang. If you get in here, then get out, we good.
Yeah.
Don't go out. Go stick in there, and boom, you're out there.
You got to deceive him. You got to do this. You got to do that.
And he was slowly trying to tell AD, look, you don't have to take on every man.
You kept running out of bounds. Yeah, see, that was a smart one.
That's just in him.
Yeah, but that's in him. But he was also telling him, you don't have to take on every man.
Yeah,
some runs.
Smart.
Just take it out of bounds. You've already went 40 yards. Just take it out of bounds.
He said some runs are done. He said, but your career, how long you play, will last longer if you take those smart runs and say, all right, I got 70. There's like 3 or 4 guys right here. There's no way I'm going to break all 4. In AD's mind, I can break all 4 of those guys and run and go off. And a lot of times you started seeing it was like towards he started running out of bounds a little bit more, start not taking that hit when the guy had an angle on.
Because he'd turn up.
Yeah.
He'll turn back in.
There's no going out of bounds.
He come right back into it.
There's no going out of bounds. He didn't get it. He didn't get it.
It
To the
depends
point
on
where he would fumble at certain times.
Yes.
Texas even.
Yeah.
It depends on who he picked.
I love him to death, though.
It depends on what DB pissed him off in the game, too.
Yeah.
And if a DB pissed him off and got a good hit on him, he gonna come to you now.
Come to you, yeah.
And Airbnb, he kind of towed a line with AD, and he knew when AD was gonna go get him one, and he would let him know, go get you one. He would come. I mean, he would see that guy coming like he about to go out, and he would just give it to him. And he knew that was in him, so
that's coaching.
He would control his rage a little bit while he's on the field, and also allowed him to be who he was, and not just totally took it out.
Disciplined player.
Yeah,
but know what happened in the game or a moment or something he told you.
I would
go get him.
I
Call
would,
that play so you go get him.
Yeah.
I
like that.
And I think a coach like that should be somebody that you would want to lead men.
Oh, absolutely.
But now everybody's into this young, new, flashy look of a hire now.
It's a lot of play calling.
Yeah, everything's
Not
about
offense.
analytics.
Play calling is getting. I want somebody,
HireJD.com.
offense or defense, but you are a leader of men.
Yeah.
That's different than play call.
And a leader of men that should treat everybody equally. So, one of the things that you brought up was, I pull it up, and I'm not one to blame things on race. I'm a mixed kid, whatnot, but I see Julian Edelman gets arrested. They use a picture of him in a Patriots uniform. I see Antonio Brown gets arrested. I don't know what the fuck kind of uniform it was. Suicide, is life without parole, everything I'm hearing. I'm like, damn, what? Okay. Well, anyway, preferential treatment, PJ. What do you think about the Antonio Brown situation? Let me know.
I think Antonio Brown is a Hall of Fame talent, but he's his own worst enemy. The conversation has gone so far away from how good this cat was and somewhat still can be. His footwork was immaculate.
D. Frank said on the last podcast they had, he said was the hardest person to cover.
His footwork, he can make you with your feet. Yeah. When you get to that level that he has as far as route running, a lot of people they look up here, the torso.
Right.
His footwork got him in and out of situations. So again, the talent is undeniable. He's a Hall of Famer. Now they're gonna make him wait 7 years or whatever before they do it because they're mad at him.
If anything, like T.O.
But this part is on him. Playboy, you gotta make better decisions, man. You got to make better decisions in your life.
And yelling in front of your kid.
Listen. You are being in front of people that can take away your freedom a little too often, Playboy. And if you keep pushing it, they're gonna do it.
They're gonna take it away.
That's real deal. If that's probably the least of your worries when the shit gets that.
I don't think it's gonna end good.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I think something's.
Is it CTE?
I think
is an issue.
If you want to say CTE, somebody asked us a fan question. We're gonna go to fan questions right after this. We'll end it with that. I appreciate you guys.
I did one more thing before fan questions. We can. We kind of talked earlier, like a week ago, whatever. But I want to get you guys' thoughts on the Kansas situation, the basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball. Get your thoughts on what you saw happen. Get your thoughts on the punishment. And then I want to ask a question or two that isn't that, but I see and I have a problem because that's not being treated like this, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So what you guys think about the Kansas thing?
When me and Rufus, when I think of a melee, I think of our first fight at OU. You're gonna laugh, but I saw Davin grab somebody by the back of their jersey, by the back of their shoulder pad. I said, damn, that's a different level of strength out there.
I think it was Birdie grab. That was Birdie, yeah.
But Roof, 30 seconds later, everybody was dapping everybody up. At dinner that night, everybody was fucking laughing about it. Everybody was doing this. I've seen some motherfuckers get their shit pushed in and still be friends after. So I really take a lot of these fights, unfortunately, with a grain of salt, PJ. I really do. I know that's going to sound bad, but these are competitive sports. These are, they're not. Listen, should they be suspended? Yes. Those are. It's not good. That whole deal is not a great look, but.
And it was on TV, so they're gonna
TV.
They're gonna give a harder punishment because
these
of
are
TV.
things that unfortunately they happen in male-dominated sports. Shit happens in female sports certain times. These are things that happen. Now, can we regulate it? Can we do some things better? Probably. But Roof, we're not gonna stop every fight in football and basketball, bro.
No, you're not. It's unfortunate that the bench is cleared and everybody got on the court, and I think. If they would allow the officials to do their job, then one guy would have got a tech and they would have went and shot a free throw and all that stuff would have been over. Everybody making a big deal about the stool, the chair, whatever that was brandished like it was a gun. Like when the stool was grabbed, he didn't hit nobody. And I mean, there wasn't really no real big shots that would land it. Even the guy that ran off the bench to throw a punch at the guy, I mean, he kind of half-hearted did this, like, I'm about to do something wrong, and then just threw
I'm out here, I gotta do something.
Yeah, and threw a lame punch. And most of the guys, if you look at the whole entire melee, not too many people connected.
No.
On all those haymakers that went down. It's like an NBA fight. You've seen a lot of NBA fights.
Yeah, 17 punches thrown, 0 connect.
Yeah. I mean, if Shaq would have connected on the punch whenever he was about to hit that one guy, but he knew mid-punch, I probably shouldn't hit this dude with all this, and he put it behind the guy's back. He didn't try. I mean, that's
when people need to be glad Shaq is nice.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, bro, these guys are as athletic as all get out and as strong as all get out because all they do is constantly work out. And I think, you watch what happened in that game. You suspend those guys, but, I mean, I don't think you put it on where people coming out, a bunch of thugs, doing all this and that stuff.
That's where I want to go next.
They're always ready to label somebody in the heat of a battle or whatever. And I think Bill Self ruled the other kid, suspended the kid because he wanted to get as far away from, because the FBI thing, he wanted to get away from the kid, which is a lot of his doing because he's dropping the bag out there with the money bag and all that stuff and into all that whole entire thing.
Let's get into this.
Let's go.
This is not
you good.
JD's ideas, not Rufus' ideas. Got my man over there, not his ideas, always holding us down. This is just me. I'll wear it. First of all, I'm going to go chronological order of how I saw it. If there's time left on the clock, you have to be ready. It is not somebody else's responsibility to stop playing because you think it's over.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there dribbling, he can take the ball. That's your fault.
True.
You're not paying attention. That's your fault. Now, once that guy says, oh, no, we still competing, then the guy that blocked his shot was right.
Right.
We ain't going to let you get it easy. That's all it should have been. He fell down. The guy, I think it was the guy that got the ball stolen, or somebody on the team.
Yeah, he flexed on him.
Flexed on him. You thought you was going, flexed on him. Now, they need to stop saying they went in the stands. They didn't go in the stands.
Right.
It was behind the expansion.
Right.
That's not going up in the stands.
When he flexed on him and blocked it, somebody else came and he backed in to everybody.
Yeah.
Because you mean as a guy,
right.
as a guy that's gonna defend himself, I've been in plenty of fights.
Yeah.
I've been in fights with multiple people.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get to the closest part back so I can see everything, coming.
Nothing
Comes behind me because I know if I get hit from, it's over.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't want the surprise shot. I want the shot I can see coming. I can brace for it and I can swing or whatever. So him backing into the crowd was him backing away from all the people coming towards him so he can get in his situation where let me see who I have to defend myself again. Like the kid that came off the bench came at him. He saw him coming. Kid didn't connect. He didn't connect. I mean, they just threw a few little fake punches and nothing landed.
They got to stop back and let the kid hit somebody with the chair. Mm-hmm. Was it smart to pick it up? No. I'm going to just keep it a buck.
Well, no. Keep it more a buck. Because this is what I ask people. Would your opinion of it change if that's OU and OSU kids fighting? A lot of people it would. Oh, he wasn't wrong. That's our guy. Oh, yeah. He's our buddy. Yeah. Whoa.
People going to defend that guy. You're exactly right. He didn't hit anybody with a chair. Oh, well, the coach took the chair. He didn't hit anybody with the chair. I'm not saying it was smart to pick it up. I'm saying when it's going around, at this point, instincts are taking over.
Yeah.
And sometimes your instincts are right, but survival mode.
Yeah, survival mode. I'm picking up a chair. I'm trying to defend myself from anybody coming, anybody on my homie.
He gets suspended.
Yep.
So now let's get to what I really want to talk about. Some people not going to like it. I don't care.
That's cool.
Why isn't it in baseball it's okay to hit somebody on purpose?
Ooh.
And they're never called a thug?
Why is it okay in hockey?
I was just about to say they check the shit out of people.
In hockey, you throw the gloves down and you get the full fade.
100%.
You get the full fade and everybody backs up.
And the referee circles around it. And
nobody mess with it.
Back up. Clear the space. Clear the space.
Yeah.
You can be a pitcher and a guy hit a home run on you. And if he looks at it too long, now I don't know what's the number for too long looking at a home run?
A couple seconds.
Yeah.
So because
too long.
I don't know the bat flip.
Fuck him up.
So because you're mad he hit a home run and you think he looked at it too long. This is my thing. Listen, there's a million people that know more baseball than me. But I do know this. Throw a better pitch. If you don't want somebody to be staring at a home run, throw a better pitch. Right. But if the narrative is you get to hit somebody because they stared at the home run too long, I don't understand why that's acceptable and that's not called intentional behavior, because you can hurt somebody with that.
Yeah.
In hockey, you can hurt somebody bare knuckle.
Right.
Right? But they're never called thugs.
NASCAR, you run them into the wall.
NASCAR guys got in fights and all that stuff.
Real.
What's,
Carried out on stretchers.
What's the difference? We know. So then the last thing is this. I have no problem with self. None.
But if it was somebody else?
But you can't be more compass in this when you got that going on. Why you still coaching?
Yeah.
Why you?
Right.
Okay, so if a player is Young, had to sit down, right?
Yeah.
Short, but he had to sit down.
But I'm thinking the indefinitely suspension of that one guy was due to the FBI
there's
thing
no
and
doubt.
how all the stuff that's surrounding that kid
Right.
and why he got rid of
Coach,
him. And
why-
it's
so-
all,
Right. So if we're
it's-
gonna circle back, then we got to circle back to the
self.
beginning.
But-
Why is self on the bench?
But coach such and such missed class too. Such and such missed class, and I missed class too. But why is he getting suspended, but I'm not? Did that happen, Rufus?
yeah.
Hey, he missed more class than I did.
You coach certain people different and all that stuff, but I get the suspension, but I'm still
Yeah, the
saying my
suspension's fine.
my
Okay,
hindsight
okay.
and what I
Right.
see is this kid has all this behind him, which he did all this stuff to come to play for you. So the FBI investigation was something that was just kind of lingering all over. There's more other kids that can be. I think the FBI thing was so bad that so many teams and so many schools were involved in it, which they kind of died down on all of it because it would cripple college basketball. I think it's bigger
I'm with you
than
there.
anybody know
with you
because
there.
of the shoe deal and how much you can
Yep.
sell shoes and this school does this and all this and
it
that.
would hurt college athletics to a core
Yeah.
if they really said
Who
what was going
Yeah,
on.
what
Who's
was
doing
going
what
on, who
legally
was
and
all-
what
yeah.
illegally?
Right. It would hurt. And
It-
again, there's no malice to self.
Right.
I think he's a tremendous coach. That's undeniable.
I know a
But
man
you-
that's
but
trying to
this is-
separate himself from something too. And I don't think Self shouldn't be on the bench because all this is behind him. But if a kid has this FBI
He out of
stuff
there.
behind him,
He out of there.
he's out of there.
Selective
So how does a
outrage
coach-
and selective morality is annoying to me.
Yeah. How does
It's annoying.
How is one coach able to? Even the coach that was in where was it? LSU. He was able to finish coach that year when all that stuff started coming out.
Yeah.
He was able to still go and recruit and do all that stuff. I mean, so the player gets to suffer the ultimate sacrifice by his whole career is taken away from him in basketball when they forcing that basketball player to come to college anyway whenever they said, I'm going to take away the high school rule. That's why you've seen guys taking off and going playing overseas. I think the overseas game is going to change a lot more because guys ain't going to want to go to college and deal with all this stuff when I can go and play, make money, and then come and get in the NBA.
Yep.
The ball kid is looked at right now as like what? Top 10
5
pick?
Yeah.
Top 10, top 5 pick. He left. There's another kid that's over there too that said he's up there with ball as well, the way he's playing over there.
Right.
So, again, like, as a player, if I was that salty as a basketball player and they wouldn't let me come and I had draft, I can get drafted in the first
I'm
round.
out of there.
I'm going to play overseas.
I'm out of there.
It seems like the overseas players now coming here better fundamental-wise than the people that are playing here. Luka Doncic and all those guys. They
Thinking
playing
ahead of the
He don't play
game.
no
They've
defense
been-
though.
but they've been
they don't play
playing-
no defense overseas.
Yeah, but they've
they
been
don't play no
I
defense.
mean, the NBA is that way right now.
The guys can. They choose not to.
They choose not
he
to.
He can't play defense.
Yeah,
but
so-
I get your point.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been playing professional basketball since he was 16, 17 with grown men.
Yeah, and he's ready. He's not scared of anybody.
Nobody.
Not scared.
In the NBA game, why you're not making a league and forcing these kids to go do something that they don't want to do? You
Yeah.
can make the easy free money. And now these kids, I think some of them are starting to get wiser and wiser and saying, you know what? I'm going to leave and go play overseas.
Well, okay. I was gonna say that I think the NCAA is changing a lot for LeBron's son. Shit, they want that money.
By the time he gets to college,
Was he 14, right? 14.
he's 14. By the time
Ninth
he gets to by the time he has the opportunity,
You think
to
he plays college?
No. By the time he gets towards the college rule would be then changed back to the NBA, where you can go to where you can go straight to the NBA.
You
The
should be
Bronny
able
rule.
to.
The Bronny rule.
Right. I mean, it ain't gonna be it's not gonna be the Bronny
They should
rule.
have done it before.
I'm just saying they're gonna
It's
create a rule
because
for
the
Bronny.
NBA is starting to see how it's affecting and damaging the kids that don't want to come and play in college. If you don't have the skill level to play in the NBA and you get you an NBA look at you, like, and they say, well, now you're not even a draft pick. You're gonna bring your butt to college. There's some players in the way the game is changing, the nutrition of guys and the way they work out, train, and do all this that stuff is different. The kid that played at OKC, smart on his part. I'm gonna go make $1 million at New Balance, have a New Balance shoe deal, come to the league. It's just different ways, and the NBA players are figuring out ways around it. It's slower in how they approaching it, but it's coming to that point because the thing about it is my surroundings is different from a rich kid's surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to take my family from a certain situation, I have to make money now. So that's why they're easy prey for a guy with a shoe deal or some guy from Nike, Adidas, or all these other places. Say, man, you go to this school, and I'm gonna drop you a bag here and there, and it take care of your mom. Most guys that's sitting there in the suits and stuff in all these other places never had to be without, never had to come home lights off, never had to dip boiled water on the stove to make so you can take a bath in a hot, nice bath. A lot of guys never had to do that, so they don't understand why these kids are they understand but don't really want to do anything to fix it, but they want to make the billions of dollars off of these kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so disingenuous to say it's about the kids' education and their development when it's not about. And they say it all the time. And it's really not about that.
Yeah, and I think that you make a lot of great points, Playboy. The thing about it is, college is actually great. It is.
Not for everybody.
But it's not for everybody. That's what about it. It's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's great to go there and meet different people from different areas, different walks of life, different personalities, different thought processes, and just network with people. It's great if you're willing to put in the work, willing to do what it takes to get your degree. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So making them go to college for a year, that's not for them. That's for you,
right?
To make money.
When I saw the Bryce Gowdy story, and really the kid at Georgia Tech that walked out in front of the train, that was depressed and well, PJ, I mean, and I don't want to get on a rant or anything, but I mean, it's kind of like what we mentioned. I mean, the whole process of this change. I firmly believe that these kids that sign D1 football or basketball should get a signing bonus. I don't think that's too far fetched. You're an elite player. If that kid would have gotten a $5,000-$10,000 signing bonus, it might have changed his life. He might have been able to get his mother a hotel room for it, but he may not have feared that he was. I don't know the answer, PJ, but what I do know is something's got to be done for our when those kids, Roof, and we were close to being those kids. When those kids are brought into this situation, I feel like we can eliminate a lot of problems by giving them a little bit of something to start with, a little bit of something. There's no reason you should be coming as a kid who had millions of dollars of scholarships. You had Texas, you had LSU, you had OU. Those are three expensive ass schools. I mean, you could have went there for free.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like I said, people threw me a lifeline, man. I think all guys get thrown a lifeline at some point. Even if it's the AAU coach that has a hidden agenda as far as because he sees your talent and how he's going to help you and how good you can be, and he takes you in and do all this stuff for you, gets you to run. They got the runners and all that stuff. They have a hidden agenda, but they also benefiting that kid, and they also giving that kid money, feeding that kid. Right? My AAU coach, I mean, he worked at Acadiana Ball and had a great job, made really good money. And I started playing for him. I mean, the man would come by and say, man, get whatever sodas you want out of the back of the truck. I mean, we would take cases of soda and just put it in the house. He stopped me one time whenever we were stealing from a store, right? And this is where he gets stuff and restock. The manager at the store said, hey, you know this kid or whatever. He's like, yeah, he plays on my team or whatever. Well, we're going to get him arrested. He's out there stealing liquor out of the store and all this and that stuff. As I'm leaving the store, he drives down the street, picks me up, tell me get in the car. I get in the truck, and I mean, he cussed my ass out. I mean, but that's somebody that was there, a male figure that was loved, and I never did it again. But there always was people that threw me a lifeline. That same man would come, and we playing AAU. That same man got me to go to a private school. I asked him, well, I want to go play in at this private school. That same man came and said, well, all right, let's go to this private school, and I'm going to talk to the coach there. That same coach that I was playing for decided, hey, you're not going to make it at this school, because when he went to bring me back home and he asked me, where was your mom? I said, my mom works from 5 in the afternoon to 5 in the morning. He asked me, how do you get to school? I said, Coach Ricks was the guy that would come pick me up, the AAU coach. He would pick me up. I would go to where he would work at. I would sleep in the truck for an hour and a half. I'll get in a car with somebody else, and I would ride to school. That's how I made it to school my whole first semester of private school. I mean, I'm showing I'm a kid that wanted. And my high school coach asked me how was I getting to school, and I would tell him how. He said, well, who's helping you with your homework? Shit, I'm doing it on my own, coach. He said, go get some clothes, get back in the car. I go in the house, get clothes, get back in the car, and I stay with him for a week. And the weekend, he comes, he sits home, and he talks to my mom. He said, look, Miss Champ, he said, he will not make it if he keeps going at this route. He can't pick up the stuff that's going on over there. He doesn't have anybody to help him with homework and all that stuff. You have to let him come and stay with me if he's going to make it. And if not, he's going to be out here smoking weed and rolling dice with these kids out here. Mm-hmm. And that's what it was. When he pulled up to my house, my brother was outside. They were smoking weed, rolling dice outside.
There it is.
He said, that's how you come home every day? I was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Every day. Well, who cooks dinner? We do.
Right.
Or my mom cooks before she go to work and leave it out there, and that was it. He's like, well, damn, son, you basically raising yourself. It's nothing against my mom.
But that's what I wanted.
But
I know that's not what you mean.
Yeah, but she had to work.
Right.
I mean, somebody had to keep lights on.
So respect due to mom for that.
Yeah,
for real.
my mom. Yeah. I mean, my mom and my high school coach have a great relationship. Yeah. We go home Thanksgiving, they together. We all together. She came over. She would cook. We all stayed a cool, happy. Like we were all cool. We melted in together. Mm-hmm. At that time, I sat in my living room, and my mom looked at me, and she looked at my high school coach, and she said, "It's his decision." So here I am, 16 years old. He's telling her I need to do this, and my mom telling me it's my decision. I looked at him. I said, shit, I ain't doing nothing. I said, all right, I'll live with you. Dude, I move into this guy's house. It was absolutely nuts, bro. It was structure. It was like, bro, you have to get up. You have to do this. You have to rake the leaves. You have to do all this stuff, right? That I didn't have a male figure telling me I had to do these type of works and chores and stuff, and then you have to have your homework completed so we can check and do all this and that stuff. Eat dinner, go to bed, boom, wake up, go. I mean, it was like I was in college before I was in college.
Yeah, you had a regiment, you had a discipline.
I had a discipline, had a regiment. There was a time where I left because I felt the work was too hard. Went back home. That was the summer. My mom looked at me and she said, "Why you ain't going back to Coach Borham's house?" I said, "Man, I ain't going back over there." My mom said, "Grab your stuff." She ain't tell me nothing. Ain't tell me where we was going or nothing. Grab your stuff. Got in the car. She drove, pull up in his driveway. She said, "Get out." She reversed, turned around and left. I walked in the house. He said, "What you doing here?" He said, "What you doing here, son?" I was like, "My mom dropped me off." He said, "Oh, she did? Get the rake."
Yep.
I went back and I had to finish the whole entire thing that I started, bro.
Yeah.
And the reason why I left, because I had blisters in my hands. I'm like, I can't do this stuff. Mm-hmm. He said, "Son, all you have to do was come ask for gloves." That just a small, simple thing.
Tell me what the problem is, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you work.
I never had a male figure.
You weren't used to that.
Yeah, right. I never had a male figure that sit there and said, "Well, hey, I was doing something because I didn't go and do what I was supposed to take care of." And he said, "If you would have took care of what you were supposed to take care of, you'd have been working at a store in the AC. But you decided not to do it, so you're raking leaves and cleaning up yards."
Yep.
He said, "There's consequence to everything that you do." And anybody, if you want to go to college will make it to where you get an AC job. You don't go to college, you drop out of high school, you digging ditches. Mm-hmm. There you go. And that's where my mindset changed to everything that I was doing when I was going through life. But it took somebody throwing me a lifeline and stuff. And these kids have people that's out there doing that. What Penny Hardaway did for that one kid.
The James.
Why is that man suspended?
Yeah.
And that was before he was the coach.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Shouldn't matter.
But they figure
if he was an engineer, if he played flute,
he's getting an unfair advantage over Mike Krzyzewski and all those stuff. But Mike Krzyzewski and those guys are not in the hood, wasn't coaching at high schools where kids didn't have anything, and he had to help those kids because he was a millionaire. He is a millionaire. He makes all this money. And how I'm going to go and tell a kid, I'm going to use your talents to go and be this good in high school and win all these games, and I don't care about you. I don't care about you not having lights. I don't care about your mom getting her ass kicked by some guy so you have a place to stay. Mm-hmm. So I took that away from you. You didn't have that burden, and you can focus on basketball, which you are great at, and you don't have to worry about feeding your mom and having lights on for your sisters and hoping your mom doesn't get beat. Because this man about to kill somebody because they putting hands on your mom.
Yeah.
And then they fault that man for doing that? That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't know why more people didn't stand up to the to the NCAA after that. Made them change their mind. It's just all that stuff is so bizarre to me because I know the middle part of it. I got ruled ineligible my junior year because I moved in with my high school coach and he didn't adopt me all the way. Like, he wasn't my adopted dad. Mm-hmm. And then the thing about it is, and this is like to round out the story, that same coach took in my cousin, my first cousin, my mom's brother's son, took him in, and he got a scholarship to go play at A&M. He played college ball at Texas A&M. Full ride scholarship to play football, and now he's he got it, construction management, so he a project manager. When he came to my high school coach's house, that man was breaking in houses. Hanging with dudes, breaking in houses.
It's called Each One Teach One.
Yeah.
But people change lives, man, and my journey changed his life.
Yep.
Which is crazy, man. Like in my family, there's 2 people in my family that graduated from college. It's me and my cousin, and that's one guy.
Yep. The reason.
I mean, actually, it's 2 guys that really put that all together. If Ricks wasn't there for me, David Bourne would never be able to help me out, and I wouldn't be able to be where I was. And me not living with David Bourne wouldn't be able to help Brandon out.
Yep. That's
crazy.
Real. That's real. Let's take a little break. We're going to sign these pictures and shit for all of our fans. Take a little bathroom break because I'm old. Go hug on my kid.
Drinking all that beer.
Drinking all that damn beer and shit. But hey, real talk, man. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, man. Thinking about his family, Vanessa, the kid. Sorry for her losses. What an unbelievable day.
For me.
So,
horrible day for a lot of people. Nothing like his family.
that's real.
Rest in paradise, Bean.
Yep.
The real ones know.
We'll be back. We're going to take more of these fan questions. We got about 10 fire questions coming. Another great
I
episode
saw
of
some of
Fullback
them.
U.
It's gonna be nice.
Yes, sir.
Hey JD, before we get to questions from the fans, I want to tell everybody about 420 Bombs CBD and industrial hemp infused products. If you suffer from chronic pain like arthritis, fibromyalgia, diabetic neuropathy, inflammation, and a host of other ailments, then you should go to 420bomb.us right now and check out their full range of CBD-only products and full-spectrum products that's CBD and the lowest legal amount of THC. You don't have to have a medical card, and you can order now anywhere in the U.S. and have the relief you need delivered right to your home. They've got everything from lotions to topicals to tinctures. That's the liquid you put under your tongue for fast-acting pain relief. They've even got CBD tea. Yeah, you can put it in a hot drink or isolate. That's like CBD powder you could put in your soda and get the pain relief you need on the go. They've got all kinds of stuff there at 420bomb.us. The blue labels are THC-free. The green labels are full spectrum. Order now and use the code FBU at checkout so that you can get 20% off your order and free shipping on any purchase over $25. 420 Bomb also offers assistance programs for disabled vets, elderly people on fixed incomes, and people in dire need. So go to 420bomb.us right now and use the code FBU for 20% off and get the relief you need delivered right to your door. And if you do have an OMMA card in Oklahoma, go to your local dispensary and ask for 420 Bomb with a 1-to-1 mix of THC and CBD. Many of your local dispensaries have it already, including pre-rolls, topicals, lotions, bath bombs, and much more. That's 420bomb.us. All right, JD, hit us with those fan questions.
All right. Welcome back to Fullback U. Gonna finish off a pretty sad podcast, but hey, man, we're gonna celebrate the life of Kobe Bryant. We're gonna take some of these fan questions in his honor. At first, everybody wants to know. At Sooner_Dad wants to know which of your former teammates was the best wingman, PJ.
I can't tell that one.
Were you? It sounds like you were the wingman, PJ. I'm just joking.
No.
You're my wingman, bro.
Yeah.
So, I'm kidding. I don't need no wingman no more. Roof.
Move in silence.
Move in silence. Roof. What you got?
Bro, I mean, I never had a wingman, bro.
Really?
I always moved solo dolo.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, college how it is. You know, guys be competing for the same thing and anything like that. So you always want to move how you move on your own. But nah, I never had a wingman.
Yeah.
Didn't need one.
I joke around. I don't know. Everybody saw the video of the Pope. Everybody coming to shake the hands of the Pope, and the ladies kept trying to kiss the hand. And I said that's when Adrian Peterson comes back to Norman. Whenever everybody trying to kiss his hand and shit. Can you describe, Ruth, what that experience is like?
Or shaking AD's hand?
Well, but just some of the attention that he got. Like, if he was your wingman, would you have fun that night?
I mean, in my own right, I mean, in college, I was a dude, so it didn't matter. But in NFL, I mean, it was kind of like, you hang out with the deal. It's just,
Up in Minnesota,
you're gonna have a great night because Adrian he would pick up the tab. You're riding in the Range Rover and all that stuff, and everything that came with it. I mean, he always looked out for me when I was out there, and I never really went at him to say, hey man, I know it's gonna be free on you, because I wasn't. I mean, I would drink, but I wasn't that heavy of a drinker. It was a lot of other people that would come around. So a lot of times I'd end up driving us home, or me and his brother would be the ones taking care of everybody, bringing everybody home. So I had a girlfriend at the time. So, but when we go out, we'd have a really, really good time. Right. No matter who it is, it ain't even about females. This was a good time just hanging out with him. I mean, he was just a good dude to hang out with.
At Boomer19691 wants to know, what's the most wild recruiting story that you could share, BJ? He's smiling already.
I think people already know. I'll just say the one people already know.
Okay.
I forgot what year it was, but we were in school. It was around almost for Christmas break, so there's not really going on in Norman. Well, in Lawton, no, what's it, Lawton? No, Ada. Mm-hmm. They had won that version of the national championship. And then we went down there because, the mantra when we was in school is you got to recruit. It's your job to, make sure they know what OU's really about. And it wasn't just, the kicking and the partying, but like winning and preparing yourself and all that stuff. So we're like, man, we can't just let them sit around here where nobody's really here. So we heard about that, so we took them down there. So that was probably the most interesting. I think people know how the rest of that turned out.
That's what's up. Roof, you got one?
Oh, man. I went to Tennessee, and that's Philip Farmer was still there. So they wasn't doing much, if anything, legal. But I can't really.
I was delayed. I got it on this side. Okay.
I hung out with John Henderson. Played for
linebacker.
No,
was he
big D lineman that played
D-line,
for
okay.
Jacksonville.
Okay. Oh, okay. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, the one that would get slapped in the face before every game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
I remember him now.
Crazy dude. Him and Ron Slay played basketball for Tennessee.
Okay.
Big dude, played basketball for Tennessee. They stayed at a lake house about 30-45 minutes away from the school. And
it went down.
That's all I can say. It went down. Dude had an Escalade. No, he had an Expedition, spinning rims and TVs in it. And it was, this lake house overlooks the lake. Just a basketball player and a football player stays in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was unreal, the people that was at the house. Yeah. That's all I can. After that, I can't really say.
It's a little hazy, a little foggy. And a lot of years in between that.
Yeah, a lot of years.
Don't want no lawsuits. Nobody getting arrested later. But it was trouble later.
Philip Farmer was They were doing it. He was doing it big. Before you go to the next one, SEC does it different as far as how they get players to go ahead and commit, and people wonder why.
Very creative.
People commit to the SEC in alarming rates, because when you go out in certain places, it's different. It's just different. It's different how the handshakes that you get. It's different in the people that come around you. It's different in the questions that you ask.
It's different in the slot machine.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, what do you want? What does your family need? What are you trying to? And then they, in a way of not saying, hey, how much money did it take?
Yeah.
And indirect questions.
Exactly. Get to the point. How much is it?
Yeah, they do those things. So my Ole Miss trip was really fun too. Like I said.
What aside of this part of it, what's Ole Miss like? Like what? Just like being there. What is it like?
It's like Norman.
I've never been to Mississippi, so
it's like Norman, but like on steroids a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Because it's in the middle of Oxford, and it's like a lot of people there.
Is it awkward?
No.
Enough said.
No, hey.
Okay, I got you.
If you're an athlete, no, it's not awkward. You're an athlete, no.
You know what I was getting at.
Yeah. Okay. I was with Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, and Archie Manning at the end of the night.
You was rolling with the first team.
Yeah, at the end of the night, because Eli Manning was my host. So
what was he like?
Eli Manning, way opposite of Peyton Manning.
I saw his tweet the other day. He said when he retired, he was this host on his visit and everything, and it was tight.
Total opposite of Peyton Manning. Drinking beer, shooting shots, all of it. We got, me and Eli Manning, we got down. And he was surrounded when we were there.
I'm sure.
It was, I'm telling you, bro. Ole Miss was a good time. forgot the guy's first name, but his name Coach Woods was the coach that was my guy, black guy that was there. Dude, he said, "All right, I'm gonna put you with Eli Manning. You're gonna have a good time." That's all he did. He smiled. He said, "You're gonna have a good time."
Yeah, I would imagine so.
It was good. It was a good time. Ole Miss was.
I don't know if you saw, but speaking of Ole Miss, their offensive coordinator now is Jeff Lebby, who's my roommate for 3 years. Man, how about that shit? Isn't that something else?
That is something else.
Something else, man. Time flies. Was at Baylor for a while. Went down to UCF with Heupel, and now just all of a sudden popped up at SEC Ole Miss.
Oh, congratulations to the guy, to Will Johnson.
Yes.
Got GA.
Yes, I saw that.
So,
Congrats, Will. Been on the show,
yeah.
so he can't come back on now. Compliance won't let him. That's fine. But whatever. At
Big props to
PD,
him.
yeah, for sure. Big time. Proud of you,
Shout
brother.
out.
Yeah. At PD Jeremy 2 wants to know if you were told you had to switch positions to play in the NFL, would you?
If I had to switch position, are they paying?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna switch
You
position.
switching? Ruth, you switching?
Oh, yeah.
What position?
I'm going to do a kicker.
Really?
Hey,
What you doing?
Man, corner.
You going to
Kicker or
corner?
long
Come on,
snapper,
man.
baby. Nah,
The corner. Coverage only.
I'll probably go safety.
Yeah.
Coverage only.
I wouldn't want to go to linebacker. Y'all work too hard. So I'd have to go to fucking special teams. Straight teams guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Straight
I guess
teams guy.
Hey, I want to be.
Y'all
You know,
be button up then.
Yeah,
though.
they are.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I want to be a holder. Something. I don't want to do something where you're just taking a lot of hits, but safety. If I had to to one of my skill sets, yeah, I'll go to safety.
Corner. I played corner high school, so like
You got to go
I
to.
think I
You
can
can't
play
go to
the pros.
somewhere straight special teams.
You're right. Okay, fine. I'd have to pick linebacker. I mean, I'd have to be there. I'd
Yeah.
probably pick Mike just because, I wouldn't have to cover that much. I wouldn't want to be in there guard to guard, to be completely honest with you. Will, I think, you were an amazing Will. I learned a lot from you. I'd probably try and be like you.
Go Will, don't go Mike.
There you go.
Mike takes on all the brunt.
Everything.
Yeah.
So go to Will. Go to Will.
The thing I love about Mike, and you know this, is just the brainiac that you have to be. And
You can do it
you
from
gotta
the,
do it from Will,
yeah,
too.
look,
Don't
you
get me
can do
wrong.
it from the outside.
Yeah,
I called all the
yeah,
plays.
you're right,
I
you're
called every formation, every play, knew every adjustment, and I called the plays whenever we
right.
got in the huddle. As
right.
long as the person that understands it the most is going to be the person that need to do it.
I would just say, typically in the league, you have that feeling, and especially back when we were there, when you had the 4-man front, you typically had the mic that was the caller, but
Right.
whatever. At Alvin Mac 55 wants to know what's the weirdest and or funniest question you were asked by an NFL team during the pre-draft process. They asked me if I smoked.
I mean, I didn't have the horror story when I went up there. They were cool. Well, until they found out how bad my knee was, but
I was with the Seattle guy. He asked me if I smoked. I was like, shit, yeah. So
They asked me if I was going to be.
I was like, you're in Seattle. Fuck, you understand.
They asked me if I was going to get all this.
Shit.
They asked me if I was going to get all this. If I was going to get all this money and become an addict like my dad was. That was kind
Damn,
of
that's
like
fucked
fucked up. Damn.
God damn.
It's like, oh shit.
I know that they were trying to see what your temperament was going to be,
Yeah.
But that's low.
That's kind of.
But that's low.
but that's some sucker shit.
That's
Yeah,
some suck
that's-
ass
that's
shit. I
sucker
kind of
shit.
look at the.
Sucker
I
shit
kind of
right
look
there.
at the guy.
That's
Was like,
you a sucker for that.
the
Listen,
guy
not
was
you,
like,
obviously,
whoa,
but
yeah.
you
I'm
a
like,
sucker for that.
That's real.
You can ask pertinent questions to try to get a response instead of going that
Yeah,
person.
he put it that like
You know what
that
I'm
straight,
saying?
that blunt.
And
I
I'm
didn't
supposed
even
to look
know.
at you the same way.
I really didn't even react to it. I was like, oh no, I mean, I really don't talk to him. So no.
Did he ever say anything? I mean, later, did you ever talk to him again? Yeah, I could. Yeah, he a sucker to me.
Yeah, that's real.
I kind of got out of the room and was kind of like,
Sucker.
All right.
Like your dad.
Yeah, that's fucked up. At Asbel_Tony wants to know he wants Rufus to describe it, but you can do it as well, PJ, if you want NFL or college. Y'all describe how y'all would personally prepare for NFL games, such as individual film study and understanding opponent tendencies that would give you an edge for the game.
how would I study an opponent coming? I mean, first of all, you go by formation. What's their favorite formation? Then you go top runs, top pass. Then you go tendencies. What person leans what way? If they move a person in a certain way, your odds of where the pass or run gonna be. Then you go by down and distance and their tendencies. Yeah, their percentage and tendencies and stuff. So I mean, every team has a certain tendency in how they're gonna do and what runs they like. You have an ISO team; they're gonna run a lot of ISOs in different ways in the play action. And then you go by after that. You break it down to what side of the field they throw to most of the time. If you got good quarterbacks, sometimes they like to throw to the right side, the hash. It'll tell you like whenever you get the scouting report, it'll tell you 80% of his passes go to the right. You got 20% of them that's in between the hash. You got 30% of them that's in the middle of the field, and you got 50% that are deep ball or something like that. That variation of it.
That's good shit, Rufus.
And so whenever you do that, if you do a play action, you know where the ball. Then you go, if it's straight drop back, play action, and all that stuff. So when it's play action, you know if it's going to be. A lot of times when you do boot, most passes, 60 to 70% of the passes go right down the middle of the field, where the ball was already snapped from. So whenever you read play action, it's not about getting depth, it's about getting sideways to get back over the ball. Different things like that. And then the last thing I would really study is the one-off plays. Like if they get in some kind of special formation and stuff that doesn't look odd to you that they've done in a game. So whenever you see it, you can pick it up real quick and it's easy to pick up. The one-off ones are easy to pick up. It's the other ones in the chess game of when it's run and where they're going with the ball.
Alignment assignment and then the effort, I brought that up a lot, but like people like to hear me talk about Texas or Derek Johnson. They used to give us a 3-3 look, and for me, Rufus talked about us being an ISO team. The hard part for me was not being able to see that Will over there, past that 3, so I couldn't read his feet if he's coming forward very fast. And my thing is, I want to go knock the shit out of Derek Johnson early, but he was an avoider, and so he
made it hard.
It made it hard. He was an avoider, and he was a good one at that. So one fear that I had was, he liked to try to knock. He liked to try to hit early.
Yep.
But my deal was, I know he really didn't truly want to hit, but I was worried at the last second he would pull off and try to get off.
Right. I mean, I saw one time you put him in the fetal position. I remember that.
Yep. Yeah. So the easy money on that. Just as we wore on throughout the game, that was where the reads become a lot easier. The hole starts to open up more. But to just give you the credit that you guys know. I mean, you guys got to be ready.
Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear this? Offensive stuff is so much simpler than a defense.
Real.
It's so much easier.
I feel like that's a shot.
It is a shot.
I feel like that's a shot.
It is a shot, man, because I got to know your tendencies of where you're going to be and where you like to catch the ball. I got to know his tendencies and how he comes out of the step. Got to know a lot what D. Franks has said. You got to play with your ears. If the offensive line is like a bunch of elephants stampeding, that means it's run. If them suckers are sideways, you don't hear no helmets clacking, that means it's a pass, a play action. Then you got to figure out what holes the running back like to go through. I mean, dog.
We used to give people problems at a 20. I thought
this
about
is
it.
Hard, bro.
When we had Travis Wilson, Mark Clayton, and Brandon Jones split out because they were such good blockers as well. And, MC being in the slot and BJ and Travis being big outside, things like that. We used to give a lot of people problems, man. And we could move our fullback around. We still had our run game.
Wait a minute. I want to hear PJ's breakdown of the game. I want to know how you prepared for.
Let me hear. Yeah, what did the coach say to y'all? What was the coach saying?
I'm gonna give you the progression, because when I first got there, it was just talent.
Yeah.
Just being honest, it was like just talent. I can beat this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I'm just.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we just studied. But I'm saying, and to me, man, just put him in front of me. I got him.
Right.
That was my mentality my freshman, 18 coming in. I got him. Just put him in front of me. I'm gonna get him. Throw me the ball. But as time went on, I got smarter, more receptive to extra film.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? First, do the film, then extra film. And then when you start getting tendencies, I remember when we played Texas, one of the corners when he was man to man, he did like that with his fingers. I wouldn't have noticed that if I didn't pay attention to it.
Right.
So Coach James used to do that. I mean, he was really good. Like I think a really good coach, especially a position coach who can be more specific, maybe than just the overall thing, knows you. And he knew how competitive I was.
So you telling me all you had to know was
No.
Man-to-man, cover 2, cover 3, and fingers?
No, I didn't say that. I said the Texas guy. I said a corner in Texas that played for Texas. His deal was when he got up, if he did like that, he was coming.
Right.
So I'm just saying little thing.
No,
the overall thing is film study. You see different tendencies as minute as that. I'm not saying only that. As minute as that. And then you watch, different games of them. And you see what they like to do and what you feel like you can get off against that person. So I'm saying I wasn't a film study guy. I was a come get it guy. You know what I'm saying? Come get it.
Yeah.
Over time, I learned what film study. Not only who I'm gonna be against, but
how to beat it.
How to beat it, but then as it went on, to know the entire defense. Because you got to know, one, you got to know what your job is. You got to know what the calls are. You got to be able to perform that. We know that's the basis.
Right.
Then after that, you have to figure out who this guy is. What kind of corner is he? Is he a guy that's going to be real physical? Well, then that whole week I'm working a little bit more on, different ways to get off or whatever. That's just what my thing was. Right. Just let's really focus on that. Or if he was a guy that was going to back up, okay, make sure I get my depth right and then come out. Don't break it off. So it's just little things like that I built up into the film game. Right. I was just a me and you guy, come get it. As the years went on, I got really good at watching the film. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what makes offense. I think that's what makes defense so much harder now because now offenses they've kind of got more down into it. Like you're getting into it, but now saying when we see him do this is this defense, so you break away this way. So you're giving a receiver so many more options to do something off of countering what you're doing as a defense. And when I first started playing, it wasn't that way. It was like, this is the play, this is what's coming. You cover 2, you check to this route. Right. And then when I realized it's cover 2, now it's like they got so many options, left, right. Just
make you think it's that.
Yeah, and it's
you think it's that you check, and that's really what they want you to do is a check.
Right. And it's like, dang, it's so hard to play against offenses now, especially when they're giving them RPOs and stuff.
And then like on film, you can see like where the DB where he's gonna sit down at.
Yeah.
Or he's gonna sit down at 8. Okay, he's more aggressive. He's going to send it at 12. He's perceptive. He think he can come get it later. So you can kind of do those things. So then certain routes are run maybe a little bit longer based off of what you saw him doing. Now, listen, they'll change, and you'll have to change within the game as well. But just little things like that, you're able to see little things. I think being able to understand what you're asked to do singularly and then get a vision of what the offense is, that's the start. Yeah. But when you can do it on the defensive side, see what the corners are doing, but then get the overall picture of what the defense, what they want to do. That's when you become a better player because I think you can go full speed, like mentally and physically. When you know what you're supposed to do and what are your counters if this happened or that happened. It doesn't mean you're going to win every matchup. But when you have that down, that's the best version of you. Yeah. I think
you've talked about it, Roof, and I'm guilty of it too.
But y'all got more to do. Y'all don't know what's coming.
Yeah, don't know what's coming.
Exactly, but it's natural for us, PJ, and you probably did this too. Okay, JD's going in there. I'm a true freshman. As soon as I get in there, right? Who am I looking at? Who am I looking at, though? Where am I going to look, Roof?
Straight to the person you're going to block.
Thank you.
Every time.
Okay, we're going bam. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but as soon as I look over there, Teddy's saying, power, 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 power. And we fucking running power left. They get us for a -2. Well, how do you know it's power? JD looked right over there to the Sam. He looked right at Pasha.
And you know what else is underrated to me? Having elite talent, equalish talent on both sides makes you better.
Yeah, no doubt.
No question. But having a smart, talented team makes you dangerous.
No doubt.
When you're talent, you can get off on talent.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can get off like a guy that's not necessarily as talented, but he has done so much film work. Who knows what that step? Okay, he
get there faster.
You can be not fast like fleet of foot. I'm sorry,
right.
But you can be fleet of mind and get to that play without that quick burst. You just know where to go because you've done so much film study. But if you have talent and you have a high IQ acumen for your entire team, for the most part, that makes you really dangerous because you can pick up different things. Like I'm sure with Coach BV, you saw something else. Y'all have done so much work. Y'all put so much work into the can that if he recognizes this, he knows what to say to y'all, and then y'all know exactly what to do. Right. And when you can do that, when you can change on the fly a little bit, that means you've done the right work before the game.
I remember one time I impressed BV. He told me good job like 3 times. Right? And that's how it goes because you're an offensive player, so you don't get that many good jobs.
Him and Coach Wilson used to go at it.
And we had a punt protection, and there was a guy standing up from OSU, and he bails, and then another guy comes from, and I'm looking that way for that guy and just totally run into this guy and knock him. But, BV, again, just those people scheme that the same way he schemes, other people scheme. But he had this ability of like, okay, this is what I'm thinking, but this is what somebody else may think. Right. Like, yeah, this guy's moving, but he can also bail it. I mean, there was very few looks that even when we fucked it up, you were just in such the right spot that it literally runs right into you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just thought he had an incredible ability.
Yeah, he also did a really good job of teaching. Like if it's cover 2, teach you what hurts cover 2. If it's cover 3, teach you what hurts cover 3. And whenever you drop, how to figure out if they're trying to do it to beat cover 3.
Right.
So if they release this way, then you know they're trying to beat cover 3 with this. If they do this, and they're trying to beat cover 2 by doing this. So it made you react the proper way every time to help you with your weaknesses.
And Coach Gibbs, who was defensive coordinator for those '80s teams, everybody loved, did a great job. He was a great defensive man. Went to the NFL defense. What he used to do is like, he'd walk around and pull you to come here. This and this happens. What you gonna do?
Yep.
Like, and
Yeah, absolutely.
that was the one, because you didn't know when it was gonna happen. He just come over and just ask you a question, and that's not me seeing it and then knowing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like, and I'm not even thinking about it at that point.
As you understand,
that's
totally
you understanding it when you
yeah.
internalize, what they're teaching you, and then what the possibilities are.
Yeah.
So, as like I say, I think I grew more from a mental standpoint in college. I grew physically, don't get me wrong, but I think I grew more about the game, the actual game in college.
And see what you talk about, PJ,
than just the skills. You know what I'm saying? You gotta work out and those type of things, keep your body right. But the mentality and your acumen.
Ain't nothing worse than a BV quiz and getting cussed out and getting cussed out for not knowing.
Right. Yeah.
And they come random.
It's that higher
You ain't
level,
ready to play football.
Higher level of knowledge that I've talked about, like Mike Leach had to learn. You might have heard about it somewhere today. Anyway, there were so many things, Roof, when you talked about, yes, offense was easier, but we had to prepare for things to break down. We mentioned the pirate corner blitz that y'all used to run. That shit into the boundary used to fuck us up, because if we had to figure out, one, we did a fairly good job of getting D in and D tackle washed.
Yeah, passing it over pretty good.
But two, we had to identify whether you were creeping up really, really fast, or if that corner, a lot of times what happened was that corner would fucking bail early and our receivers wouldn't be able to call hot. And so then our receiver has to go in and crack somebody, leaving fullback on, because the tackle's not going to be able to get out to that corner.
Yep.
Fullback's on corner, now you're wide open.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was
chess
just
game.
chess games, and
big chess
again,
game.
you're put in so many positions where you have to think lightning fast, and you see two people there, but it's just a matter of milliseconds.
Yeah, what BV would say, if you're slow there getting there, let the corner go first. And then you wrap tight, and then you'll be able to come inside and you'll be clean, because if that fullback or whatever turns out and get that corner, that leaves it wide open for you. If you come before the corner, that means you better bring your ass underneath that fullback, because then it shortens it up for the corner coming out of it. So you get underneath him. That puts it, what it does to the quarterback is it flashes somebody across his face, because that fullback's going to push you across him anyway to pick you up. And then a lot of times the quarterback, whenever it flashes in front of his face this way, he evades the opposite way. So when it comes in front of him, he evades the opposite, comes right into the corner blitz. So that's kind of how he taught it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the both of you? What's the best offensive team you had to play in college, and what made them tough? And then I'm gonna come to you with defense from in your college days.
Oh man, the best offensive team I had.
Yeah. Had to go against in college.
I'll
and
do
you offense.
USC for us on defense was fucking legit. I mean, they had Sean Cody went second round, Lofa Tatupu went third round, rookie of the year, NFL defense rookie of the year. They had Frosty Rucker went third round. They had listen to this, dog.
Yeah, cats.
Clay Matthews, Keith Rivers, and Ray Maluga were on the fucking bench that game. That's two top 15 picks.
It's the second best team of the 2000s.
Yeah, that's two top 15, top 20
01
picks
Miami
in a
won, they were
second round pick.
And I would say the same thing. I think USC was tough because I think it made our. I realized they were tough because they made BV actually change.
Norm Chow.
He changed a lot of. He didn't let us be, and it's not a knock on him. I think it was his learning process. He handcuffed the athletes that he had to try to be in the perfect call. Instead of just teach us, hey, if they do this will happen, do this. We go to run slam dogs, you have to be conscious for this or whatever. Anytime they motion, he made us check. So it just kind of, they made it so tough because they made him kind of freak out a little bit as well.
That's always that's a great point. I always felt like that's one of the hard things for a coach especially one that's as prepared as he was, to be that prepared. You know, y'all were ready on defense.
Yeah.
Mike when he was at his best, and he was gone by then.
He was gone
by then. But I'm saying, but Mike and BV, y'all knew y'all were taught well at that particular point in time, offensively as well.
I think he would have Mike would have said F it and play with his guys out. Mike was more of
BV was such a detailed guy from what I hear.
Analytics. He's such an analytics guy. And if they do this and that, then this freaks me out because they catch us in this. And Matt Leinart was so good at reading defenses, so he was underrated. Yeah, he would understand. He'd understand where to go with the ball.
And
so
talent galore outside of Reggie, Lindell, Steve Smith,
and he didn't allow us to be.
Crew.
I don't think he allowed us to play the game as the athletes we were, and he kind of suffocated everybody, and I think it hit everybody kind of hard.
The other thing that D tackle Mike Patterson, I think they had, was fucking real deal.
Yeah.
Went late first round to the Eagles. I don't think we realized they did something. They were one of the first. I don't want to say one of the first, but they just would gradually widen their defensive ends throughout the game and just turn them into pass rushers and drop everybody. And we were so convinced that our running game was good that we were going to be able to run and prevent that. But before you knew it, we were down and just couldn't do it. So, I mean, that was a really, really tough game. And I think it just, lastly, it exposed our lack of offensive identity. And to me, and you talked about this with Jalen Hurts, just about his progressions and things like that and going through different reads. And it's not against Jason, but we didn't even give him the opportunity to do those things. You know, we were such an AD team. When we weren't an AD team, it turned to MC. When we weren't an MC team, it turned to usually when we were on our best, Jay White had a few carries here, some balls there, some balls here, spreading the ball around. We're doing our thing. We just didn't get to that in that game. At Snoofer wants to know, he said he's just finished the Aaron Hernandez documentary on Netflix. Do you guys feel like players, do you guys feel like you have more sympathy for players that suffer from CTE than the average fan? Is there anything that you guys get told about it that just isn't available to the general public?
I just think the study and the things that's happening right now it's all relatively new to be able to try to figure out a cure and all that stuff. And I think it affects every man different.
Yeah.
I think it messes with certain parts of your brain. I mean, it depends on if you hit so much with this part of your brain, if it affects decision making, you're more impulse reacting and all that stuff. I mean, they show an actual brain versus a football player's brain, and you see the holes in it, and they just go through the whole thing. And the brain is such a unique part of the body, and it operates the whole entire body, the decision making, the moving of the arms, and everything. So whenever you affect that and mess that up, there's got to be things that affect you that other people really don't get. I think you look at guys like that do stuff like this. I mean, Junior Seau was one of the all-time coolest dudes that you would ever meet. I met him once, and it's a nice guy. For him to take his life is not something that you would ever think a guy like that would ever do. Right? And so whenever we talk about a guy like an Antonio Brown, people say, well, he got the money-itis or whatever. I'm like, but that man took a hit where he blacked out.
Perfect.
Man. And Burfict hit him so hard. It's different. And his decision-making part of his brain is all the way off. Because look at the man threw a TV off of a balcony. The man took his wife and kicked his wife and kids out of a house, and then he goes in somebody
at the cops
in front of
the kids.
Then he give somebody's supposed to move him, and he's supposed to pay him $4,000, and the man just beats him up out of random. The man freezes his feet. I mean, he's just doing all things where the decision part of your brain is just not working. Yeah. It ain't working properly, and everybody want to think it's money, but it ain't. Well, sometimes it's not. It's not
right. You're
money.
absolutely right, Rufus. And then here's the other deal: is why I feel sympathy. I feel sympathy.
I got another guy.
Go ahead.
The McLean kid out of Alabama, the fullback. He's on Twitter begging for help. This is a different. I mean,
shocking.
It's a lot of things that go on. He's made good money, but he's taken on a lot of hits, a lot of concussions, and this man is not thinking the same way. Larry Johnson, right now, you look at him on Twitter.
That's my guy.
He's a different cat, though. He was a quiet dude, and now all of a sudden he's very vocal, very different. It's it's weird, man. I'm telling you, this
From
whole
Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City.
He follows me, bro. I don't know.
He's out there a little bit right
I don't
now.
know.
It's
Have you seen it?
He's a great player.
Oh
but
yeah,
he's
he's talking
out
about
there.
Satan and
Satan
shit.
is-
Everybody's fraternities and Greek life being possessed and just all kinds of shit.
So your the decision,
Symbols
the thinking
and-
and stuff, man. I'm telling you, it messes with people.
And I have to check myself sometimes. 'Cause both of y'all make very salient points as always. A lot of times when I'm watching football, I'm like, man, you gotta let them be physical.
Mm-hmm.
But then I sit back and I see these things, and it's weird because I think that about AD as well, but Antonio Brown. I'm sorry, AB. I think that about him as well. I don't know it, but it's like at first when I said, okay, well that would make more sense, because he used to lash out a little bit just in an interview and go buy a car.
Right.
He wasn't doing all of this, so it's like I would understand it better, and I think people would be like, okay, they wouldn't be as mad at him. But in a weird way, it's like it's worse if that's what it is.
Right.
I'd rather him just be acting a fool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not do all those things. But you know what I'm saying? Than to have the worst pain ever, I think, is from a physical standpoint, is you're trapped.
Mm-hmm.
Trapped by some type of CTE or something that you don't know how to verbalize it, you don't know how to change it, and it's altering who you are.
And you don't even realize
And
it.
you may not realize it. So sometimes I got to step back, fall back myself, and like, I mean, come on, that's not something to be kicking somebody out of the game for.
Yeah.
Like in the big game, the national championship game. But then it's like, okay, well, if something ends up happening to them, then you're gonna wish they would have kind of pulled
Right.
off a little bit, and that makes it harder for the defensive guys because they don't know when to pull up or where
Yep, exactly.
where the shoulder placement is. What's so close to where the bigger helmets are now. It's almost like
Yeah.
no real major difference between
yeah.
them when you're going. You can turn, but at a certain point, if where his point is when you're coming to him, he dips.
You can't change it.
There's nothing you can do. So it's
Yeah,
it's just weird.
I don't think you could change it in football. You can't change the hip. You can't change a lot of the things out of football, but there's a lot of unnecessary hits that was in football, like the blindside hits, the hits where the running backs is already gone and just want to take a cheap shot on the guy. I mean, Sapp took a dude out ended his career after doing that one time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, now you're starting to see guys retire younger and younger.
Yep.
Which is, it's smarter. Whenever
Guys
you
have a plan now.
Yeah, whenever you start getting the concussions and all that stuff, there's some guys that continue to play, but man, whenever you start being sensitive to light and can't really wake up sometimes because of the headaches you have, and people really don't get a lot of that things whenever guys, you can be, I think one of the worst pains you can talk about pains is a headache. Migraine headache. And I get
and let it be all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have that, but I'm saying some people have it all the time.
Like, was it Big Man? The Big Man, the kid, the guy, the quarterback
For Chicago.
had to wear shades, and they think, it's all a show. Man, the man has severe headaches. I mean, you mess something up in your brain, and it hits wrong one time, and you all have constant headaches and stuff, and you got to take pills to try to mask it and help yourself out to get by another day.
And that's can create a second problem.
Oh yeah.
When you have to take certain pills, and then either it doesn't medicate all the pain, so you feel like if I take more of them, it'll take it down, or you get addicted to it, or mixing it up. Yeah, it's
Well, my deal
Crazy.
is don't fucking joke about CTE. Or anywhere around me, because yes, I do feel sympathy because these are elite athletes. If it's a problem, people.
Yeah.
If they made it to the NFL and then they got that issue, that's an issue because that's telling me that there's some huge ass defenders out there. And secondly, you talking to a fullback who played that shit, and you talking about coaches who told it, oh, if you hurt, well, I'm gonna fucking cut you. So it's back to work. It ain't no hurt. It's playing through those. It's fighting through those. And again, you talking about LaRon McClain, shit, he's a year younger than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And things that we go through, the general public doesn't know. There's some of those concussion lawsuits going on. I don't know if you've done them. The whole deal's coming on. But they have us go do these neurocognitive things and all this and that.
But it's all. I say it's all bullshit. You're doing all this stuff, and they've been going through this concussion protocol for so long, and you got to go through all this stuff. And all the NFL doing is playing the long game. And only people that's
die out.
Yeah, the people that's really getting rich off it is the attorneys that's
they've
fighting
known for 30 years.
Yeah, and they gonna get the money, right? So all the players gonna get the money, and the attorneys that did all this work gonna get their cut off the top, and they spread all the money after that.
And
It's just a
the
scary
Players
thing.
Association in football
It's bullshit.
is the weakest of the three major sports.
Yeah, easily.
Football is number one in this country. Football is number one. But the and I don't even know if they really have access to that type of power to change.
Oh, they
the
do.
scope. But the thing is, they got to get to where they are fighting for the right things in these negotiations.
People.
Health care beyond your time of play.
Thank you. I was about to say the same thing.
Health care beyond your time of playing football. Guaranteed pensions. So that unfortunately, maybe it got too late for somebody, but your family is going to have guaranteed pensions.
They got me
and
about 3
health
weeks.
care for your family members, so that your life.
And I'm off a week. I'm off a week from getting my pension.
Yeah.
Like,
So
no mind.
3 weeks.
They got to change those things.
One
I
game.
would say guarantee. And then the last thing, it don't apply to this, but I would say guaranteed contracts.
Yeah. That's real.
Healthcare, pension, guaranteed
But
contracts.
they're not. The players that are there, they can bitch about this all they want, but and everybody that gets on Twitter and all this talk about, oh, we need to come together, we need a revolt, we need a revolution, all this and that stuff. They're not ready for that, right? Because if you were ready for that, all the players that's coming in and players that are in right now would say, I'm striking until we get this part fixed.
Yeah.
And the players that are coming in, and then the older players that are there, you do not be a scab, because if you're a scab, that means we have to come back and cross over, and guess who gets cut? You get cut.
Right.
So if I have to cross over, you get cut, and I get the money. Mm-hmm. If you wait, if you get in, you get the money guaranteed, because the fraternity of getting into the NFL is very small. But the numbers may be big after a long period of time, but getting it at those few years is very small.
How long you there?
Right.
lot get there, but how long you
But
there?
it's not even say a lot get there, because look at the team, just 30-something teams. Look how many colleges it is. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's very small. It's like, even with the NBA, I mean, it still is a small union.
Right, but
it's
just to clarify what I was meaning, not a lot of people in the country. I'm saying not a lot of the NFL players
right.
get people hear NFL play, they think rich.
Yeah. You don't get to that point right when you get there sometimes.
If you get $900,000 in your career, that's a leg up on most people.
Right.
But that's not generational money after taxes. That's all I'm saying.
You're making
the people
what,
who get
five?
The big bucks is really, really small after taxes.
After taxes, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Those guys have to get to the point where they can talk to the youth that are coming in and saying, we all are not going to play until we fix this part of it, because this is not fair on so many levels.
But they know they'll win the long game.
Yep.
I mean, I don't
Those
think
at the top know they'll win the long game.
they'll win the long game because people will cross over. But if the people don't cross over, they can't lose these TV contracts for 2 and 3 years.
Right. So then you're asking, and not you, but
Players that are middle of the road.
The conversation is, do the middle of the road players
Right.
who want to take care of their families, right?
Can't miss checks.
And may not have the education, or do have the education, but that job will never get them that much money. And I'm willing to, one, because I love the sport, two, because I play it, but most importantly, if it's gonna make sure my baby's all right, long term, some of them do it for that. There's different reasons why people do
Yeah,
different things.
and that's the problem, and that's why basketball will trump football, and that's why baseball will trump football, hockey will trump football unions as well, because they don't sacrifice themselves for the small.
physical.
Yeah, they don't. Even though like hockey's very physical, I mean, but still, even though that though, they say I'm not going to sacrifice the small term, because the football players right now think on a small scale. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, all those guys think on a bigger scale. Therefore, that's why they always have the advantage over the owners and all those people, and they conceded it whenever they locked out and said, well, hell, we ain't going to play. Who you going to go get to replace us to be out here? Who you going to get to be Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan? Right. Same thing in the NFL, though. Yeah. Who you going to get to be Peyton Manning, Pat Mahomes, all those guys? You can't find those guys ain't walking down the street.
But the guaranteed contract is the difference.
Yeah, it's
the guaranteed contract is. It's also the reason why a lot of people playing games that they shouldn't, because if you don't, you can get cut.
Right.
So guaranteed contracts and the two other things that we said previous, those things have to happen, in my opinion, to move the great game of football forward.
And all those young guys got to know when they go to the bargaining thing, if you were on a contract, we are bargaining that you get paid. When you come back in, whenever you start your contract back up again, you get paid. Yep. You can't go into the bargaining part of it and be half-assed about it and be like, well, I'm taking care of me. Like Saturday and all those guys that went and talked and spoke for the NFL, Saturday, I mean, he made a bunch of money. He was good. And he's on TV now. All they do is take him to the side. Hey, yo, I got you, Jeff Saturday. You know, you don't – the Peyton Manning and those guys, you have to have – the whole group has to go into these meetings. You have to have some of the young cats. You have to have some of the old cats.
I'm gonna tell you why it's hard. What you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying, and you know this. The hard part is these cats that's making the rules. Yep. They got their money no matter what.
Yes, sir.
They can play the long game.
Yep.
As an athlete, I'm not saying that's your only way out, but I'm saying for most people, most guys love a certain sport.
Yes, sir.
We love a bunch of them, but love a certain sport. If you have an opportunity to play/work for something you did when you were a kid and you love it to the core, and I get a chance to live my dream of playing pro football, I get a chance of making real money. Listen, I ain't never made $300,000. That's real money to me. You know what I'm saying? But on the NFL level, it's not real money. On the NFL level after taxes. But if you have an opportunity to get there, the small thing I'm seeing that gives me a little hope, because we haven't got to what we're talking about right now as far as the guaranteed pay and the healthcare and those type of things, guaranteed contracts. But what I am seeing is I'm seeing some of these young cats come in with a plan.
Yeah,
my man from Carolina can still play.
Oh yeah,
I had at a certain point, don't know him, but I feel like his team, his family, his wife, whatever.
Which one was that?
Peppers.
No,
Keekly.
Oh yeah.
I think that they came in with a better idea of this is not going to be 15 years for me.
Right, and my plan was whenever I came in, I was like, I was coming when I get to a second contract. After my second contract was over, I was done.
You can stack your money.
Yep.
And now he's probably made some nice connections in Carolina, Charlotte, in that area. So hopefully, guys pick up doing that in the interim of when we get there. Yeah.
PJ, you can answer this one if your homeboy was in the league. At G Lynch 77 wants to know, JD, if you were still on the Bears and Rufus is in Minnesota, you ran ISO, you got the backer. Do you blow Roof up or just block him? Is it harder to go after a brother? So if you got a guy one-on-one, PJ,
this pros?
You go torch him? Yeah.
It's college?
Yeah, no, pros.
It's pros, college, little league, you got to get it.
Torch him.
Younger is bragging rights.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We ain't got no problem.
Yeah.
I got you, though.
Yeah.
That's bragging rights.
It's all for the end of the game. It's all for the end of the game.
In college, you may have played against a guy that you played against in high school. Now he's at a school.
Oh, it's all for bragging rights.
Bragging rights.
Yeah.
And for JD, I told JD.
In the pros,
I told JD I'm gonna cut him.
They know who you play with. So if I come in and I kind of shy away from giving Rufus everything I got.
Oh, you over there?
Oh, you playing brother? Are you playing brother role?
Love, yeah.
We can't use it here. Yeah. Coach, he playing brother. We can't use it here.
Yeah, hey.
You know what I'm saying? You got to do your best. Don't hit the knee. Yeah. And never go for the head. Everything else fair game.
I told JD I'm gonna cut him. I'm gonna give one of the soft cuts too.
Yeah,
I'll be one of the soft cuts so I can stand up and laugh at the end of it, like so we can clown and joke about it.
What was the first OU guy you had to get in the pros?
Probably AD.
I had to get AD. Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah.
And then you had probably Big Phil was there.
Big Phil was there after me. I didn't go against nobody else that was at other teams.
Yeah,
Teddy that's the biggest dude the biggest football player I've seen in person.
Phil O'Hall, he's a massive
biggest football
man.
player in person.
But that was about AD. I had to get AD a few times in scrimmages and stuff, but it was all good, though.
Obviously in Chicago, going against Tommy and Dusty, and then when I got to Cincinnati, Roy signed to Cincinnati, so I had to go against Roy a couple times. That was pretty funny. So
I had to give AD the business and blitz.
Yeah,
in the linebackers, and you know how we did at OU. Had to give AD the business and blitz. Went at him hard. Knew he was gonna duck his head because that's what he always do. Yeah. You come at him real fast, he'll duck his head. Got across of him.
Isn't that?
Yeah, got that OU DNA. Wants to know, 1, who did you model your game after? 2, who did you confide in most during your playing days at Oklahoma, player and or coach? 3, did you have any superstitious rituals before the games?
I'll go down.
1, who'd you model your game after?
Football wise, nobody. I wasn't a football guy. I was a basketball guy. So never really had a person I modeled my game after football. So I came into football for BV as a blank slate, ready to learn whatever I had to learn. Mm-hmm. Person I most confided in was Gayron Allen.
G-Baby.
Was the person I talked to the most about football, about what I need to do on the field and everything like that. Off the field, my high school coaches who I talk to more about life and what I'm doing investment-wise, life-wise, family-wise.
Superstitious rituals.
Crazy thing is, I would listen to Lil Wayne on the way to the game, and I'll listen to Marvin Gaye and different stuff during in pregame when I'm running around and all that stuff. I'll listen to a lot of old school R&B before the game, while I'm running around on the field. But going up to it, I bumped all Lil Wayne all the way up to the game. After, that was my guy.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
PJ, who'd you model your game after?
Swan.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a big play guy. It wasn't even necessarily the fundamentals of the two of us.
I really didn't. I didn't know. Really, when I got into college, I really didn't know. I didn't watch much NFL coming into college. I wasn't.
Swan. And I'm a Cowboy fan, but Swan was. He just made memorable catches. That's what stuck in my head so much. You know what I mean? Because I met him my freshman year when we played USC the third game of the season. Coach James was my receiver coach. He knew that it was I love Lynn Swan and Drew Pearson, because that was when I was growing up. Those were the guys, yeah. And then obviously Jerry Rice would come later. But he said, "Hey, go around the corner to where the equipment guy need to talk to you about something." And I walked in there, and Lynn Swan was just standing there.
Dang.
And I'm like, and in my junior year, we're playing Texas, and he's interviewing me. You couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You couldn't tell me nothing.
Who'd you confide in most?
Okay, not family, right?
Yeah, player.
So not player was Terrence
or
Brown.
coach.
Player was Terrence Brown, and coach was Coach James.
Did you have any superstitious rituals you did before the game?
Yeah, I needed to eat in the morning.
Any specific meal?
Yeah, scrambled eggs, hash browns, bacon, and Pepsi. Don't tell me what's
smart. My son just had a Pepsi. He won't be mad at you.
That was my breakfast.
Dang, what?
Would you eat a pregame meal? I used to have that spaghetti. They had spaghetti, eggs, and the mashed potatoes for me. I just clump them all together, fullback style, baby.
I always had to have food-wise. I had to have a box of Frosted Flakes and a banana with a banana cut in it.
If we're gonna do that, I'm gonna do Apple Jacks with the marshmallow. That's my breakfast.
That's my morning game.
That's my cereal.
At Nathan_McCullen probably has the best question. Wants to know: growing up in Louisiana, did Rufus ever come close to getting attacked by an alligator?
Yeah. Actually, that's funny. Actually, the craziest thing is, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Walk this through this. We'll create a 3D visual. Brad Reed will look that up.
Well.
Get catching your ass and
me and my godfather, we were out fishing on a boat or whatever, and alligator he had a fish, alligator got to it. I mean, we on the boat, so we over there, he reeling it in, and that sucker mouth came on the top of that, right there on top of that boat. And I'm like, you figure it would pop the fishing line. That sucker just came up with the fish. Ran that sucker on top of the boat, and he's over there, and he grabbed the top part of the alligator's mouth, and I'm sitting in that bit just mouth wide like this. So the mouth of it open, and he slams it against the damn side of the boat, so the alligator can't open his mouth.
Cause somebody down here, right?
Yeah, so he has it holding it like this, and all you see is the damn tail just flashing back and forth. I'm sitting there mouth wide. Get me the damn gun! Get me the damn gun! So he got this little gun in the back, shot that sucker. Bow! Pull it back, threw it in the thing. He said, "We done fishing." I was like, "What the hell? We done fishing?" Well, you got to be done fishing because you can't kill an alligator just like that, because you'll get a fine and you'll get put, because you have to have a tag to kill an alligator.
Wow.
So, boom, took it, put it in the boat, got home, cleaned it, had some alligator later on that night.
How is alligator? It tastes amazing.
Awesome. Really? Good. Fried alligator, baby.
Who was it? You say your uncle?
Yeah, my uncle.
Remind me to stay on your uncle's good side.
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, that man, that thing came up, and that man slammed the mouth of that thing and held it down. I was like, bruh. Who would think of that?
Not me.
One, at that moment in time.
To be that focused in the moment. Yeah.
I mean, the alligator just came right up easy with the fishing line and everything, with the fish and everything. Just bam! bam, right on the top of the thing, and he just
That's
held
crazy.
down and said, grab the gun, and I'm over there about to panic and stuff. This boat rocking like this and shit.
I'm out
Like
of
if we fall in the water, there's more alligators. My thinking
Oh, yeah,
is
it's
so.
worse.
Yeah, so
That's
the damn
worse.
boat rocking. So I grabbed him the gun, and he just shot that sucker.
I've been fishing twice.
Yeah, there's a few shows my dad watched growing up. We're gonna do a podcast with my dad before long,
cool.
but he was big on Wild West shows, big on nature pictures, and one of the things he used to do was like when alligators attacked and shit like that.
Me and
You
my
ever seen
uncle.
those?
Me and my uncle
Oh,
watched
man.
Cleet Eastwood, John Wayne.
There you go.
Every time I went to his house, all he had was Cleet Eastwood on. That's I walked.
Outlaw Josie Wells. That's my favorite.
Outlaw
band.
Joe's as well. Good, the bad, the ugly. Paint the Town Red. I mean, I watched
Unforgiven.
all of them.
Yeah.
Unforgiven.
Yeah.
That was later on, but I mean, the Paint the Town Red, Josie Wells. I watched those on repeat.
Real.
And he would come in. He said, "Man, Cleet Eastwood, the baddest damn cowboy around."
Yep. At Sooner_Dad, we picked him already earlier, so he's got 2 questions on here. He said, how do you guys feel about QBs being asked to play different positions? Does Jalen Hurts get asked to play a different position? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it depends to me on is he good enough to play the position at the pros? It's a business. You know what I'm saying? It's a business. So they have to make that. They have to make that decision, but there needs to be people paying attention to who is actually doing what in practice to see if he's really that guy. Yeah. And also because we've gone through when there wasn't really. I think Gilliam was the first with the Steelers in the 70s, if I remember correctly. And now we have an abundance, and most of people's current top 5 has maybe a majority of black quarterbacks in this particular year.
Yeah.
I just want us to be in a situation where we're cognizant of the issue, but we're giving people a chance to show their talent. Just give them a chance to show their talent. It's not an automatic assumption.
Is that what you're saying?
You know, so that's what I hope for that.
Go ahead, Ru.
I'm on a different level of should he be asked to play a different position, and what position will he play? I don't think there's a position made for him to play. With his skill set, he's not. From what I've seen on film and what I've seen him running on the field, he's not that fast of a player. He's not elusive of a player. He's not your typical 6'4", 6'5" quarterback, long arm quarterback. He's not a Pryor, right? That was at USC. He doesn't have the speeds like an Eric Crouch.
Who is his comp? NFL comp?
I don't know. But I mean, again, you look at that's why I'm saying he doesn't have one. I mean, he's. Are
you talking about arm strength?
No,
he doesn't have
what quarterback makes you think of Jalen Hurts in the NFL?
I don't have one. I think. I mean, he's a poor man's Cam Newton who runs out of the pocket who scrambles, who uses his feet as one of his weapons. He doesn't have a bigger arm as Cam Newton. He's inaccurate some of the times. He goes through his progressions pretty slow.
How good was the quarterback from Missouri that's been not really
Chase
been playing?
Daniel.
Chase Daniel.
How good do you think he was?
Oh, Chase Daniel could throw it.
He could throw it, and he's gotten so much better in the league. But
he's quick.
The thing about Chase, it seems weird, is he's better as a backup.
Right.
Because as soon as
some guys are like that.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets in as a starter, they break him down, and he's not as great.
He's accurate. He goes through his progressions fast. Like I said it on Twitter. It's no slight against Jalen Hurts. He's an unbelievable competitor. He's resilient. He approaches the game the right way. He watched film the right way. As a man, I would let my kid learn from him because of how his approach to everything is top notch. Mm-hmm. But if sometimes you don't have some people are good college football players, some people just not professional players, and I don't think he has the arm talent or all the stuff that they say about Jalen Hurts. Most of the guys that's in the locker room really most of the time don't give a shit about. Mm-hmm. He's a good leader. He's a good competitor. Right. Most guys at the league is a competitor. They're competing for money. Mm-hmm. You get in the huddle, shit. Just tell me what the hell I got to do. I'm going to run my route. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. They can say as much as they want to say about Tom Brady being this incredible leader and stuff. Most of the guys on there are playing and competing for a check, and they want that check. They're competing for the same goal of winning a Super Bowl championship, so they're going to move in the same direction really easy. It's not hard to lead those guys. Guys that are in a shitty situation like a Cincinnati or a Cleveland or something like that, they move in different directions. They still rich, and no matter what the hell you tell them, they rich and they don't give a shit.
Culture matters.
Yeah, but culture matters. If they get to a point where culture matters. So if they get into a playoffs, those guys would be easy to lead and move in the same direction. Yep. Nobody will say Baker Mayfield's a bad leader. Because, I mean, some people will say he is, but if you've been around him at the school, he's not a bad leader. He's a good leader. But you can't, sometimes when guys moving in different directions and stuff, and they all millionaires, you can't tell a man nothing. What you going to tell him? That he can tell, that if he don't feel like playing today, if he got drunk the night before, if he had a bunch of hoes at a hotel and doing his thing, and he really didn't want to, he had that bad day. What you gonna tell him? How you gonna lead him in the right direction? And then you can tell those guys.
There's a bunch of different leaders. You can have guys that really don't play that much that can lead from the sideline.
Right.
But if you're going to hold someone accountable,
right,
you have to be able to hold yourself accountable.
Real.
Right.
If you're gonna talk about somebody else's play, whether they're doing their job or not,
you got to be great at your play.
You got to be great at yours. And Baker wasn't good this year.
Right. He wasn't.
That doesn't change. He can play in it. I'm not saying that. But he didn't play well this year.
Right.
So next year needs to be get back to being a very good quarterback, very good player, and everything else will come.
Yeah,
everything else will come.
I feel for Jalen Hurts. I mean, I don't know if there's a position that you can change him to, because, like I said, he's not a 6'4" quarterback. He's not as fast as the quarterback that went to New Orleans that changed. What's his name? Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's 4'4". Mm-hmm. Jalen Hurts is not. Look, if he runs 4.4, I'll be shocked as hell. I don't think he's 4.4. So you got a non-fast guy, 6'2" guy. His only position on offense is fullback, and he's not elusive. He ain't a guy that's catching it out of the slot right there. Say, hey, man, I'm going to move him to the slot, because if I get the ball in his hand, he's going to be dynamic with the ball in his hand. It takes him a long time to get started. So when you playing in the NFL, man, it's bing, bing. I mean, them guys coming down fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
Will he get an opportunity?
I think he'll get in the camp. He'll get an opportunity.
We'll get in the camp.
I'd say 5th, 6th round.
So then let's say worst case, because
maybe
I want him to
he'll
make
go
it.
higher.
Then go 4th.
3rd, 4th.
I want him to make it. When it comes to this, I want everybody to live their dream.
Yeah, I want him to live his dream.
Whoever. But if it doesn't work, let me ask you this: do you think he could do TV?
Coaching. His dad's a coach.
Yeah, I think he'll do coaching. He's not a TV. He's not. You watch him talk to the media. He's not a personality type. Yeah, man, that guy's personality I want on TV. Right. He's not that guy. But I mean, I think as far as mentoring people, teaching young men and all that stuff, he would kill that. Yeah, he would be I think he'll be a great college coach at some point. He's that type of person as far as his approach to doing things and his work ethic and doing stuff. I just don't see it happening in the NFL. Hopefully I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that dude succeeds and make billions and does great in the NFL.
He's gonna have a great life. It just depends on what arena. I think.
I just don't see it in the NFL. Yeah. That's just my outlook on it. That's my opinion. I don't see it in the NFL.
Our buddy Brad Reed, OKC, wants to know what are your favorite football fight songs? OU truly has a great one, but do any others stand out? And while y'all answer that, I'm gonna pass around some weed products for you.
Not all of them are weed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. CBD too as well. Yeah, check that out.
Yeah,
you might get high just touching it.
I never partaked before.
Yeah, well, those are.
You ain't gotta confess shit on here.
No, I'm serious. I never have. Yeah. Everybody knows me. I never have.
420 bomb.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
No, if I did it, I'd say
lip balm. That's lotion. So
some of them are. There's lip balm. That's a topical lotion that you can put on.
Lip balm.
Lip balm.
So you got a little 420 bomb. It's a lotion. So
lip balm.
They do have chapsticks. Yeah,
they're not missing any demographics.
So right here, you got here.
You gonna drink some tea and be high as hell.
Little lotion, not that Barry Bonds lotion, but they got the other lotion for you.
And they really do work very well for your pain.
That's funny.
Any chronic pain.
So this is weed tea?
Yeah.
That's funny.
CBD. CBD.
Oh, CBD tea.
Yeah. Some of those. The one with the green.
Take it to your wife.
Yeah.
I'll take some of the weed tea. Why it can't be weed tea, man?
We could do that, but you had to come to my warehouse.
There you go. I'm good with that, man. Gotta get weed tea. My wife.
Be careful, you get a contact high in that warehouse. Hey, so favorite fight songs?
Non-OU. USC.
Really?
Yeah. I like dun.
It's
something regal about that, bro. Man. And when I was a kid,
that was the worst.
When I was a kid, we saw Notre Dame, Michigan, USC, and we saw certain games that they were gonna play on certain coasts. The coast is gonna get the big games, and then we got Virginia Tech and that kind of stuff. USC. I mean, the White Horse. The guy, I just thought that was
Too much.
That's the best one I heard. That's not OU.
Mine's LSU, baby.
Oh,
man. As much as I don't like them, but theirs is so fire.
Homer.
Is that
Hey,
the dun, dun, dun?
That's Louisiana.
Nah,
I'm thinking of
man.
Georgia's.
When they come out, dun 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 dun, and the crowd go, dun 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 dun.
Oh, okay.
Can I say Howard
Oh,
or
that's to
Hampton?
be gone.
Howard and Hampton?
Yeah.
Okay.
We gonna add that?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Howard or Hampton.
LU.
Hey,
Yeah. No,
That thing-
Howard,
I'm playing with you.
Howard and Hampton.
I'm telling
That's
you.
they number 1 or 2.
Hey, that thing was,
USC ain't on that level.
that
like
thing was fire. Hey, I'm telling you, with the stadium in there and the band come out, it's unreal.
Oh, yeah. Michigan's is like my high school's Carl Albert, so it's dun, 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 dun. Hail to Victor's Valiant, so that one's a good one, so.
Hey, I used to listen to that all the time in high school.
Yeah.
Because my science teacher, one of my football coaches, Vinny Belair, huge Michigan fan.
Yeah.
He would play it
That's
every
awesome.
day. Everybody walked into the
That's
class.
funny.
That's
I like that.
fantastic.
I like that. That's good stuff.
I grew up a Florida State fan, so.
That's a fire one.
College,
Yeah.
Division 1 football, Florida State, USC, Florida. They the top 2.
Ah, come on, man. I'm
Chief
telling you.
Osceola come out with that spear.
I ain't know we-
Oh yeah, when he's spiking in the middle of the ground.
Those
Yeah.
2,
Yeah, that's pretty fire though.
And then they get the all black unis.
the
now,
run
too.
out,
Those
that
two,
come
and they
out.
were the first ones I remember
Yeah.
that had multiple different jerseys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the late 80s, early 90s, they had I think they had 3 different jerseys.
So
three,
cool.
The other
four
one,
different jerseys.
the other one real cool. The splitting of the T, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool
Yeah,
too.
that was cool.
That's pretty
Yeah, that
cool.
was cool.
Yeah. Man, this has been a great podcast. I don't even know how many hours we went, but damn, Kobe Bryant would definitely be proud of us, man. And rest in peace to that cat. PJ, man, I know he's your favorite player. Hate to hear it for you. Rufus, man, thank you guys for your thoughts. Gonna be another great episode. Y'all broke Twitter the last time we did this episode. I don't know what it was. I think because people seen us emotional and passionate or whatnot. It really got to them. But, man, thank
Rest
you guys
in peace,
for coming.
Bean.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
And Gigi.
Ruf?
Praying for the
Man,
family.
nah, man,
Not a good day.
I
Not a good
don't
day.
have any more thoughts, man. It's just kind of it's gonna be it's an emotional, exhausting day for sure.
All-Star game won't be the same.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of things that won't be the same.
yeah. I mean, you can see around the NBA, man. People watching games right now saying it's just so sad in every NBA,
arena.
every NBA arena.
That's real.
It is sad. They said Tyson Chandler was on the sideline at the Houston
The
game crying.
Spurs and somebody else both took a 24-second violation because it said 24 on the shot clock because it's Kobe.
Oh, that's respect. That's, I mean, he's,
And-
Yeah, it's
so-
going down.
So
I mean, there's just certain things you can't.
I think
yeah.
I think the driving force behind it I don't like right now is reason why they should cancel it is because of the emotion behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why they're playing the game is for the media attention to see the emotion behind it.
yeah, I can see that.
Which I say that's why I think you should cancel it and let people grieve.
Yeah.
the
and
the
then
only
when
thing
they
about
agree.
that I think they may be thinking
Yeah.
Cancel for
is
him. Who else?
this no, not necessarily that.
Such a
This
tragedy.
might be the only time this man can take his kids to see this team. And I think sometimes
Yeah.
a lot of it is selfish for the dinero, but I do think that there's sometimes when you have the load management that has been going on the last few years, I think they're trying to make it more premium on the people that can't always come to these games. You know, I'm not talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that's what I think
Yeah.
they may be thinking is this person may not be able to get back to a game, or maybe they
don't
be
matter
thinking
to me.
Kobe's mentality is Mamba, keep it going. I don't know.
Yeah, that don't matter to me. I don't care about it. If you can't come into another game, man, this guy's just such a pioneer for the game. You go with, I'm canceling everything. Hey, today games are immediately canceled
guy.
after hearing that.
Favorite player ever.
He needs a proper tribute.
Well, he gonna get a
Oh, he
bunch
gonna-
of
he
them.
gonna get
Yeah,
one.
he gonna get a bunch of
He
them.
gets- yeah,
But
he gonna get
no
one.
fake love. Am I right,
You're
PJ?
gonna see a lot of fake love.
No fake love. Don't show none of
You
that
gotta
fake
still
shit.
show
Just
love,
be
man.
quiet. Yeah,
Even though
yeah.
you don't like- you
show
show
love,
love.
but don't show fake love. Okay? Just keep it consistent. Much love to my guest. My boy Brad Reed's gonna hook it up with the graphics.
Doing
It's
his
gonna be
thing
another
always.
Great.
Got the hat to the back,
Best episode of Fullback U.
tatted up.